Chapter 909. Yao Wang's suspicion he was crippled. Not only did he lose an arm, but half of his body was also destroyed. Even if the half of his body was not injured, it was still injured by the explosion. He only had the strength of the third level of the Golden Bell Shield left. He could still be a hooligan, but it was impossible for him to be a master. Even if he recovered and started training from the beginning, it would be much more difficult due to the loss of an arm. Plus, even if he started training from the beginning, how long would it take for him to regain his current strength? Luckily, his master heard that he was beaten up like this and said that he would avenge him. His master already promised him that once he arranged things in the sect, he would send a new master over to his boss side and come to Songshan to avenge him. He was going to kill Lin Yi and House Chu. That's good. Dazhou didn't have the strength to deal with Lin Yi at the moment, so he could only rely on Ma Zhu. Ma Zhu had the same hatred as him, and he didn't believe that Ma Zhu would take this lying down. Dazhou pretended to ask casually, "Master Ma, what did your master say about Lin Yi injuring you this badly?" "Humph. Lin Yi is going to die. My master is going to kill Lin Yi and Pengzhan's families." Ma Zhu didn't hide it and smiled coldly. "They are all going to die." Ma Zhu didn't doubt that Lin Yi and Chu Pengzhan wouldn't die after his master left the mountain. It didn't matter how many helpers they found, they were all going to die. It was hard to say if his master could kill the helpers they found, but no matter how strong these helpers were, they wouldn't be able to kill his master. The reason was simple. His master had completed his Golden Bell Shield, and he had no weaknesses. Even an Earth-class peak master's attack wouldn't have any effect on him. Even if Lin Yi's master came and used the same chi bomb on him, it wouldn't work. Golden Bell Shield was undefeatable. Ma Zhu's master was called Invincible Gene. Of course, he wasn't called Invincible Gene before, but after completing his Golden Bell Shield, he changed his name to Invincible Gene. Even if a road roller passed by him, he wouldn't be injured, let alone a normal master. Great. If there's anything you need our Zhen family's help with, Grandpa Ma, feel free to let us know. Zhen Dazhou was overjoyed. There was hope for revenge this time. On the other hand, Zhen Yingjun was overjoyed. Lin Yi was dead this time. We'll talk about this when the time comes. Ma Zhu was frustrated. Even if he killed Lin Yi and Pengzhan, it wouldn't be enough to compensate for the damage he had suffered. He was crippled, completely crippled. What should he do in the future? But Ma Zhu is injured like this, but Lin Yi is fine? Zhao Qibing didn't believe that Ma Zhu's master could kill Lin Yi. When Zhen Yingjun found Ma Zhu, he said that he could definitely kill Lin Yi. What about now? Zhen Yingjun was crippled. Ma Zhu was also crippled. And these two cripples sent him money again. Although Zhao Qibing could earn a lot of money, he wanted Lin Yi to die more. If Ma Zhu really killed Lin Yi, Zhao Qibing would rather not earn his medical fees, or even give him some money. Logically speaking, Lin Yi should be heavily injured as well, Yao Wang sighed. Yao Wang sighed and said, "According to my analysis, Lin Yi's injury this time is very serious and fatal. If he could blow Ma Zhu up like this, he probably isn't any better. If I'm not wrong, his meridians are all broken." Broken meridians? Doesn't that mean he's a cripple? Although Zhao Qibing didn't practice, he understood the situation of a practitioner. Yes, Yao Wang nodded. Even if he's a doctor, I'm afraid he can't recover to his original state. So Lin Yi should be the weakest right now. That makes sense. Zhao Qibing nodded. He was about to say something when he raised his head and saw Zihua walking in. He quickly asked, "Zihua, you're back just in time. What did the people you sent out say?" "Lin Yi seems to be fine. He left House Chu's villa as if he wasn't injured at all. But I didn't see Li Fu. I think he either didn't recover or died." Zihua said. "Lin Yi recovered? That's impossible." Yao Wang was shocked. Is his medical skills really that good? How can he recover from such a serious injury? He can use pure qi to heal himself? Could it be that his strength has recovered? Ma Zhu froze and hatred appeared on his face. If Lin Yi was in a miserable state, he would feel better. However, Lin Yi was perfectly fine. This was unacceptable. I'm not sure. Is he really that good? Yao Wang frowned and said in disbelief. Is Lin Yi not human? Fuck, how can he be so strong? Zhao Qibing's eyes widened. Fortunately, he was prepared for this. Lin Yi was the same before. He didn't have much confidence in those who boasted that they could kill Lin Yi in one hit. He was confident that Lin Yi wouldn't die. This guy was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. No. Yao Wang suddenly slapped his thigh. You said you didn't see Li Fu. Yeah, Li Fu didn't appear. Peng Zhan has been driving by himself these days. Zihua said, Ha 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 ha. I know this time Lin Yi is injured too. He doesn't have extra pure qi to heal Li Fu anymore. Yao Wang laughed. I'm afraid that the reason Lin Yi can go out now is because his injuries are healed on the surface. In fact, his strength hasn't recovered yet. Oh, if that's the case, then it's a good chance to deal with Lin Yi. Ma Zhu's eyes suddenly burned with hatred. I'm just guessing, but let me give you a piece of advice, Mr. Ma Zhu. With your injuries, you shouldn't fight Lin Yi. Yao Wang shook his head and said faintly, even if his strength hasn't recovered, you've lost most of your strength. You're not much different from him. Don't even talk about Lin Yi with your current condition. You won't be able to escape even if you're surrounded by a few strong men. Although Yao Wang's words were harsh, Ma Zhu knew that Yao Wang was speaking the truth. He couldn't help but lower his head. Indeed, with his current half-baked strength, he wasn't anyone's opponent at all. Half of his body was broken, and he didn't have any good attacks. He used to rely on his sturdy body to fight randomly, but now, even if he met a few strong men, they could kill him, because half of his body was no different from a normal person. Chapter 910. Chapter 909. Lin Yi's final decision. Haha, Ma Zhu, aren't we thinking the same thing? Qibing smiled helplessly. Both of my skyscrapers were destroyed by Lin Yi, and even my legs were broken by Lin Yi. Don't I want him dead? I want him dead too, but I know that I can't kill him with my current strength. I can only wait for my father to send a master, or for Lin Yi's other enemies to kill him. Ma Zhu nodded, knowing that Qibing was telling the truth. Does Lin Yi have any enemies recently? At a time like this, shouldn't we let his enemies do it? Qibing turned to Zihua and asked, HM, other than Jiang Wen, there's only Zhong Pingliang left. Zihua said helplessly, I only know of these two, but Jiang Wen has been quiet lately, and Zhong Pingliang is with you, Master Bing. None of them are a match for Lin Yi. Oh, right, when Xiao Ji from the Xiao family came to visit me a few days ago, he seemed to have asked about Peng Zhan and the masters around him. Oh, then did you receive them? Did you tell him about Peng Zhan? Qibing asked. The Xiao family never had any grudges with us, and our relationship was quite good. I heard that they were about to be kicked out of the noble house list by House Yu, but a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. The Xiao family is still useful, so I didn't neglect them. Zihua said. As for Peng Zhan, of course I told him. From his tone, it was obvious that he had a grudge against Peng Zhan. So I told Xiao Ji about the two masters around Peng Zhan. But when Xiao Ji heard that Lin Yi was a mystic early phase, he hesitated and didn't say anything else. Oh, how about this? You find a few hooligans to test Lin Yi and see if he still has the strength. If he really doesn't have the strength, we'll spread the news. Qibing thought about it. I don't believe that Lin Yi and Peng Zhan don't have any other enemies other than us. It seems like the Xiao family wants to deal with them as well. We just have to sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Yes. Zihua nodded and left. After leaving the villa, Lin Yi drove to Peng Zhan department store. He needed to make some preparations before his date with Tang Yin. Lin Yi didn't hide from the people around the mansion. Lin Yi roughly guessed that they were sent by Zhao Qibing. After Zhen Yingjun and Ma Zhu were injured, they would definitely go to Zhao Yaowang for treatment. It was normal for Zhao Qibing to send people to spy on him. So, the more Lin Yi didn't care about them and acted as if nothing happened, the more he could confuse people and make them think that Lin Yi had recovered all his strength. However, Lin Yi didn't think about Faubert. He neglected the fact that Zhao Qibing had even spied on Faubert. But even if Lin Yi knew about it, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He'd only healed the external wounds on his body, and the internal injuries in his meridians hadn't healed at all. There was no way he could treat Uncle Fu. Lin Yi drove to Pingzhan department store openly to make people think that he wasn't injured. Lin Yi had to hide this news as much as possible before Pingzhan found a useful master. Lin Yi wanted to leave tomorrow, but Zhan Yingjuan's problem wasn't completely solved yet. If Pingzhan didn't find a substitute bodyguard, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to leave peacefully. So, Lin Yi could only hold on and be careful to keep a low profile so that others wouldn't be able to use it against him. However, what Lin Yi didn't expect was that Yao Wang had already guessed his true strength and was secretly launching a test plan. Lin Yi parked his car in the underground parking lot of Pingzhan department store and asked the security guard before coming to the jewelry area on the first floor of Pingzhan department store. "Hello, sir. Would you like to choose jewelry?" Lin Yi just arrived in front of a counter called Lu Wei Shan Jewelry Store, and a shopping guide walked over and asked enthusiastically. "Yes." Lin Yi nodded. He didn't expect this jewelry store to have such good service. Lin Yi wanted to look around casually, but Lin Yi decided to buy here. In fact, in Pingzhan department store, every jewelry store's goods were similar. The main difference was the service. "Sir, what do you want to choose? Use it yourself or give it to a friend?" The shopping guide asked. "I want to buy a ring for my girlfriend," Lin Yi said. "Ring? Girlfriend?" The shopping guide nodded. "Is it a normal gift or a proposal ring?" "A proposal ring." Lin Yi sighed slightly. She was the first girl who confirmed a relationship with him. Before leaving, Lin Yi made a decision. "Here, sir. Look, these are all wedding rings. What price range do you want? We have rings from thousands to tens of thousands." The shopping guide pointed at a ring in the counter. "Just this one. How much is it?" Lin Yi wasn't good at jewelry, and he didn't know how to choose. He chose a ring that looked like a diamond because Lin Yi heard that the bigger the diamond, the better the diamond. "This one." The salesgirl jumped. Lin Yi had his eyes on the treasure of the store after all. Her heart jumped. If she sold it, how much commission would she get? She just came to work 2 days ago. If she could really make this deal, it would be a big profit. What's wrong? Lin Yi saw the shopping guide hesitating, so he asked. "It's nothing." The shopping guide shook her head and said, "This ring is the treasure of our store. It's locked in the counter. Please wait a moment. I'll call the manager and ask him to open it for you." "Okay." Lin Yi nodded. When the shopping guide just wanted to make a phone call, a shopping guide from a store called Yun Guangdu Jewelry looked at the shopping guide in front of Lin Yi with some sarcasm. "You first ask him if he can buy it before you make a phone call. You call all day long. Just the phone bill is a waste." Lin Yi frowned. He thought, "I'm buying jewelry. What does it have to do with her? Is she jealous because I didn't buy it from her store?" However, Lin Yi didn't want to cause trouble at the moment. He also suppressed his anger and didn't say anything. "I'm sorry, sir. Please ignore her." The shopping guide smiled at Lin Yi with a little embarrassment and then continued to call. Chapter 911. Something important to tell you. In fact, this Yun Guangdou jewelry saleswoman could tell that Lin Yi wanted to buy it, but she didn't think that Lin Yi could afford it. She just wanted to ruin his business. "It's nothing, I'll buy this one. Call the manager to take it out. I don't need to look at it, just take me to the card." Lin Yi was a bit annoyed, but he was too lazy to argue with her. He was now walking around with the principle of being low-key. Ah, just like that? The saleswoman was shocked. She didn't think that Lin Yi would buy it without even looking at it. She couldn't help but be stunned. Buying such an expensive thing without looking at it carefully? But when she saw the diamond card Lin Yi took out, she immediately understood that Lin Yi had the ability to do so. She secretly rejoiced in her heart. Good people will be rewarded. Her principle of serving passionately was not wrong, and the saleswoman from Yun Guangdou Jewelry was a bit dumbfounded. Those who could take out this kind of diamond VIP card were big clients of the company. These people all had the ability to talk to the higher-ups. Thinking of her sharp words just now, if Lin Yi told the higher-ups of the mall, not only would she lose her job, but even her boss's brand would be removed from the mall. Thinking of this, the saleswoman's face immediately changed. She wanted to say a few words to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi had already turned around to swipe the card. In fact, Lin Yi didn't want to argue with this saleswoman at all. With the 300,000 yuan ring, Lin Yi drove in the direction of the hospital. Tang Yan's house hadn't been renovated yet, so she was still living in the hospital. Lin Yi called Tang Yan and asked her to wait for him at the entrance of the hospital. When Lin Yi arrived at the hospital, Tang Yan had already come out and stood at the entrance. The breeze gently blew her hair and skirt. Under the sunset, she looked like a silhouette of a beautiful girl, just like the first time Lin Yi saw her. Who? Lin Yi took a deep breath. He had made up his mind, but Lin Yi didn't know Tang Yan's decision yet. However, no matter what Tang Yan chose, Lin Yi would support her. Yun Yun. Lin Yi opened the window and called Tang Yan. Tang Yan seemed to be in good spirits. She turned around and saw Lin Yi. She couldn't help but smile sweetly. She quickly ran over and opened the door. This feeling is so good. I even thought that the previous 3 days were just a dream. You didn't seem to be injured. Ah. Lin Yi heard Tang Yan's words and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He didn't know how to respond to Tang Yan. He didn't know what to say. What's wrong? Tang Yan saw that Lin Yi's smile seemed to be a bit strange and asked curiously. Nothing. Let's find a place to eat first. What do you want to eat? Lin Yi changed the topic. Okay. Tang Yan nodded. You just recovered from a serious illness. Of course, you can eat whatever you want. My mom wanted to barbecue for you, but it can't be done in the hospital. Maybe after the new house is renovated? After the new house was renovated? Where would he be at that time? He would probably be back in his hometown. Then let's have a starry night. Lin Yi hadn't brought Tang Yan to such a high-class hotel before. It wasn't that Lin Yi couldn't afford it. It was that Lin Yi wasn't a person who cared about extravagance. He wasn't very interested in these high-class hotels. But today it was his and Tang Yan's last dinner. It was a farewell dinner. Lin Yi wanted to eat solemnly. Even if Tang Yan didn't agree with his decision, it would still be a beautiful memory for him, seeing Lin Yi drive the car into the parking lot of the Starry Night Hotel. Tang Yan was a bit surprised. This place is very expensive, right? Why are we here all of a sudden? It's just the two of us. We can just eat something simple. Didn't you say that I just recovered from a serious illness? Then let's come here to celebrate, Lin Yi said. If that's the case, okay. Tang Yan was a bit distressed. She wasn't a greedy and vain girl. Her personality was completely different from her mother. From Tang Yan's perspective, even if you were poor, you had to have a backbone. Lin Yi asked for a small private room. Because it was an ordinary private room, he didn't need to make a reservation in advance. The best hotels Tang Yan had been to were the Pengjan Business Hotel and the Starlight Hotel that Miss had treated them to. Lin Yi passed the menu to Tang Yan. Tang Yan flipped through the menu and was shocked. The dishes inside were really expensive. The price of an ordinary dish was enough to eat a meal outside. Tang Yan really didn't dare to order it. She hesitated for a bit and returned the menu to Lin Yi. You can order it. Ha! Lin Yi knew what Tang Yan was thinking. He casually ordered a few dishes and sent the waiter out. He came here mainly to have a showdown with Tang Yin, not to eat. Waste of money. Tang Yin looked at Lin Yi and pouted. Although she knew that Lin Yi could earn money, she didn't like to waste it. Money could be spent in the right place, but a meal like this didn't necessarily taste good. Tang Yin's heart ached when she spent a lot of money. Ha! I'm not married yet, and you're already controlling me? Lin Yi laughed. How about it? Do you want to be controlled? Tang Yin's beautiful eyes widened as she looked at Lin Yi. Ha! Okay, as long as you are willing to control me. When Lin Yi said this, although he was smiling, it was a little sad. Only if you don't want me. Tang Yin heard Lin Yi's reply and was a little proud. I'm afraid that you don't want me. Lin Yi's expression became serious as he said solemnly. Tang Yin froze and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Although Lin Yi's words were a joke, Lin Yi's expression made Tang Yin confused. Why are you so serious? Lin Yi just wanted to answer, but there was a knock on the door and the waiter began to serve the dishes. The dishes Lin Yi ordered were all simple, stir-fried dishes, nothing complicated. It didn't take long for everything to be served. This was also Lin Yi's intention. The goal was to prevent the waiters from interrupting him and Tang Yin's conversation. Tang Yin, I asked you out this time because I have something very important to tell you. Lin Yi waited for the waiter to leave and said. Chapter 9:12. I do. Tang Yin was a little perturbed. Could it be that Lin Yi didn't want her anymore? His relationship with Meng Yao and Yushu was getting better and better, and she couldn't compare to them at all. It was possible that Lin Yi asked her out to break up with her. Plus, it was the first time Lin Yi asked her out to eat at such a high-class restaurant. This made Tang Yin's heart beat faster and faster. Yin, actually, my injuries aren't completely healed. Lin Yi decided to make it short. He didn't need any foreshadowing. Tang Yin knew about his injuries from Meng Yao and Yushu, so Lin Yi only needed to get to the point. Although my external injuries are healed, my strength is gone. Ah? Would that be a big deal? Will it be dangerous? Tang Yin was shocked and asked subconsciously. She didn't expect that Lin Yi wanted to talk to her about this. Although it wasn't that Lin Yi wanted to dump her, but the fact that Lin Yi was talking about his injuries in such a serious manner meant that it must be very serious. So Tang Yin was very worried. It won't be dangerous because of my injuries, but if my enemies know that I've lost my strength, I'm afraid that I'll be in danger. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Ah, then why are you telling me? You shouldn't tell anyone. Tang Yin was shocked. But I won't tell anyone. I'll keep your secret. Ha! Yin, you misunderstand. Lin Yi smiled. Seeing Tang Yin's nervous reaction calmed him down a lot. Tang Yin cared about him. Misunderstand? Tang Yin paused. Yes, I'm telling you this because I've already resigned from Meng Yao. I won't be their bodyguard anymore. Lin Yi said. Tang Yin heard Lin Yi's words and was slightly surprised, but she was happy. Although Lin Yi had lost his strength, he had left Meng Yao and Yushu. Wasn't this what she wanted to see? Where will you live in the future? Tang Yin's face reddened. Why don't you move in after my new house is renovated? Huh. Lin Yi looked at the shy Tang Yin and his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't easy for the conservative Tang Yin to say something like this. However, Lin Yi could only shake his head. I've said it before. If I don't recover my strength, my enemies might come looking for me. I can't drag you guys down with me. Then you mean? Tang Yin suddenly felt uneasy, as if something big was about to happen. The joy of Lin Yi not being Meng Yao's bodyguard vanished in an instant. I'm leaving Songshan, going back to my hometown. Lin Yi was a little sad when he said this, but he still had to say it. The music ends, and the people leave. This was the law. You don't want me anymore? You really don't want me anymore? Tang Yin felt as if her heart was hit by a hammer. It hurt so much. Although she had thought about what would happen if Lin Yi didn't want her anymore, She didn't think that this day would come so soon. It's not that I don't want you anymore. It's that you don't want me anymore. Lin Yi was shocked by Tang Yan's reaction. In his memory, Tang Yan was a strong person. I don't want you anymore? Why wouldn't I want you anymore? Tang Yan wanted to cry. She didn't understand what Lin Yi meant and thought that he was making excuses. I don't have my strength anymore. I won't be as famous as I am now. I'll be very poor. Do you still want me? Lin Yi could basically confirm Tang Yan's feelings. It seemed that he didn't buy the ring for nothing. However, there were some things that needed to be said clearly. Lin Yi, I'm going to bite you to death. Tang Yan was panicking. She stared at Lin Yi with her big teary eyes. In your eyes, am I someone who despises the poor and loves the rich? Am I that bad? That's my mother, not me. Tang Yan was a little angry. He actually used her mother as a comparison. But Mrs. Tang did make Tang Yan worry a lot. Ah! Lin Yi sighed. He had to tell Tang Yan the worst possibility. After all, Tang Yan was a girl from the big city. He didn't know if she could handle the boredom in the village. It's very remote. There are no tall buildings there. It's not as prosperous as the city. There aren't even cars. A lot of people don't have telephones. They communicate with each other by shouting. The houses are very old. There's no heating in the winter. We have to burn our own firewood. There's no modern washroom. There's only public washroom. You're a girl. Can you endure all this? Of course I can. Don't forget that my family used to live in a bungalow in the slums. We also have to burn our own firewood in the winter. There's no independent washroom. It's also a public washroom. What you said is perfect for me. It's like it's tailor-made for me. Tang Yan was so excited that her words became incoherent. She finally found a sense of superiority over Miss. But if I can't recover my strength in this lifetime, you'll have to stay with me in the village for the rest of your life. Are you really willing? Lin Yi heard Tang Yan's words. He was very touched. I'm willing. Tang Yan nodded firmly. She didn't care if Lin Yi had strength or not. She didn't care if Lin Yi had money or not. She only cared about Lin Yi as a person. Okay, then I'll go back first. You can finish high school or university here. Then you can come find me. Consider it as giving yourself some time to calm down. I hope you're not impulsive. Lin Yi said rationally. I'm not impulsive. Tang Yan shook her head. Tang Yan shook her head. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. But I do need to settle my parents down. I'm marrying into a rural area. I need to comfort them. But are you just brushing me off? You don't want me anymore, do you? Tang Yan gradually regained her calmness. She looked at Lin Yi. She wanted to see if he was lying to her. He wanted to comfort her first and then leave. Lin Yi suddenly took out a small box and put it in front of Tang Yan. No, I've thought about it for a long time before I said this to you. This is for you. Tang Yan paused, but she couldn't suppress the excitement in her heart. Although she hadn't opened the box yet, she had seen similar scenes in dramas. Could it be a wedding ring? Chapter 9:13. Was it a coincidence or a plan? It's so beautiful. Tang Yan looked at the huge diamond on the ring in surprise. She couldn't contain her joy. Aren't you going to say something? Lin Yi took out the diamond ring and looked at Tang Yan. Are you really willing to come find me? I'm willing. Tang Yan nodded shyly. At this moment, she was like a bride who was about to enter the hall of marriage. Lin Yi put the ring on Tang Yan's finger and felt relieved. Although he lost his strength, he didn't know how his old man would react when he brought home a wife. Although this meal was a little sad, the atmosphere was very warm. Lin Yi was leaving, but Tang Yan wasn't disappointed, because in the near future, she would be leaving with him. After the meal, Tang Yan put the ring back into the box before leaving the room. Why aren't you wearing it? Are you regretting? Lin Yi joked. Only an idiot would regret. I'm afraid that people will steal it. Now that you don't have any strength, I need to keep a low profile. I don't want to cause any unnecessary trouble. Tang Yin rolled her eyes at Lin Yi and carefully put the ring away. Huh. Lin Yi thought to himself, what an understanding girl. It would be nice to marry a girl like this, right? Lin Yi paid the bill and left the room with Tang Yin. What he didn't know was that Sihua's people had already made arrangements in the parking lot of Starlight Hotel. Mr. Yang, thank you for your help. Sihua nodded to the manager of Starlight Hotel. Haha, how can I not do my best when it's Master Bing's arrangement? Mr. Yang smiled at Sihua. It's not a big deal, it's nothing. Sihua nodded. All right, Mr. Yang, you can go. There's nothing for you to do here. It's not good for you to be here. All right, I'll be on my way then. I hope Sihua bro doesn't cause too much of a commotion and affect the shop's business. Mr. Yang said. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Sihua nodded. After Mr. Yang left, Sihua got into a Buick MPV on the right side of the parking lot. The windows were covered with black film, so no one could see what was going on inside. In the parking lot, another white Nissan van was also ready. It was a very old and worn-out Nissan van. If one looked closely, they would find that it was actually an assembled car. This kind of car was also very popular with some gangsters. This kind of car was cheap and could carry people. It was the most suitable car for fighting and chopping people. When the police came, they didn't even want the car. They just left it behind and ran because the cost of a car was only a few thousand yuan. Lin Yi and Tang Yun came to the parking lot and got in the car. Lin Yi was about to start the car when the Jade sent a weak warning signal. Lin Yi and Tang Yun came to the parking lot and got into the car. Just when Lin Yi was about to start the car, the Jade sent a weak warning signal. Lin Yi was about to take a closer look when a white Nissan van stopped behind his car without any warning, completely blocking off his path to reverse. Lin Yi's car was parked in the parking lot. There were cars in front and on both sides, so he could only reverse out from the back. Lin Yi frowned. Why did this person park his car there? Was he doing it on purpose? Lin Yi honked twice to signal that he wanted to leave, but the Nissan van behind ignored him, as if it didn't hear Lin Yi's honk. Without a choice, Lin Yi got out of the car and went to the driver's side of the white Nissan van. He looked inside and saw a bald man wearing sunglasses, smoking leisurely. He didn't put Lin Yi in his eyes at all. Even when Lin Yi walked over, he didn't look at him. The warning from the Jade made Lin Yi subconsciously alert. How could it be so coincidental? It made Lin Yi feel that something was wrong. Logically speaking, the people who came here to eat were people of high status. Even if these gangsters were overbearing, they wouldn't cause trouble for no reason. Could it be that these people were plotting something? However, Lin Yi didn't have any strength now. He didn't want to expose his weakness, so he could only endure his anger and knock on the white Nissan van's window. What the F***? The bald man opened the window and blew a mouthful of smoke on Lin Yi's face. I want to go out. Can you please move the car? Lin Yi had a feeling of being bullied by a dog. In fact, even if Lin Yi lost his strength, there were many ways to kill these ordinary people. In many cases, assassins didn't rely on their own strength to kill people, but on their skills. But in public, Lin Yi couldn't kill these gangsters because of this, right? It would also be difficult for Lin Yi to get away. Go out? Go out for what? I'm waiting for people. The bald man turned a deaf ear to Lin Yi's politeness and directly refused. You wait for people, but I want to leave. Lin Yi didn't expect that he didn't want to cause trouble, but trouble came to the door. I'm waiting. Can't you wait for a while too? The bald man waved his hand impatiently. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get out of here. Lin Yi frowned. There was a trace of ruthlessness in his eyes. He said, Isn't it wrong for you to do this? I don't want to cause trouble, but don't force me. Lin Yi wasn't a cowardly person. What would people think of him if he were to hold back and let them do what they'd think? The first thing they would suspect would be that Lin Yi had lost his strength. Otherwise, why would Lin Yi retreat? Therefore, Lin Yi couldn't endure it. He could only catch up. No matter how weak he was, he had to pretend. At this moment, Lin Yi suddenly realized how painful it was for someone who didn't have the strength to put on a show. What did you say? We're not leaving yet. After the bald man heard Lin Yi's words, he also became ruthless. He directly pulled out the car key and got out of the car, following the bald man. 4 or 5 people who looked like gangsters got out of the van. I'll say it again. I don't want to cause trouble today. Don't force me. Lin Yi said faintly. I'm forcing you. What can you do about it? The bald man didn't seem to care about Lin Yi's threat at all. He locked the car and turned around to leave with his people. Lin Yi moved. He moved like lightning and grabbed the back of the bald man's neck. With these fighting skills, Lin Yi could also put them down. Chapter 9:14. Her heart, Lin Yi's heart, skipped a beat as he felt that something wasn't right. The baldie's skills weren't ordinary. How could he be an ordinary hooligan? Even though Lin Yi's strength was almost depleted and the injuries in his body hadn't healed yet, his speed and agility weren't as good as before. It was still more than enough to deal with ordinary people. However, Lin Yi's attack didn't even hit the target. What did this mean? Either Lin Yi was weaker than an ordinary person, or the baldie wasn't an ordinary person. Lin Yi knew his own condition very well, so the latter was the only possibility. The baldie was also a master. Of course, this master wasn't a practitioner, but a master who was much stronger than ordinary people. However, if the baldie wasn't an ordinary hooligan, why would he appear here? And it was obvious that he was here to cause trouble for him? Apologize. The baldie looked at Lin Yi coldly. I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it. Either kneel down and apologize to me, or I'll let my men beat you until you kneel on the ground. Lin Yi took a deep breath. It was premeditated. The enemy must have planned this. It was too much of a coincidence, as if they were putting on a show. Lin Yi didn't know what to do. Was it sent by Zhang Yingjun to test whether he was injured or not? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It seemed that he couldn't deceive others with just his appearance. If others suspected him, they would use their own methods to test him. It seemed like that was the case now. Lin Yi was in a dilemma. If he endured it, the baldie would definitely know that he hadn't recovered his strength yet. Anyone who paid attention would be able to see that he wasn't as strong as before. Otherwise, how could he make the baldie dodge his attack? If he didn't endure it, the baldie would still know about his strength. However, there was no need to endure it anymore. No matter what, his strength was exposed, and there was no need for Lin Yi to hide anymore. Let's see who will kneel in the end. As Lin Yi spoke, his body moved, and he appeared behind the bald man like a ghost. With a swift and fierce chop, the bald man howled and instantly knelt on the ground. These were some of the assassination methods that Lin Yi had used to save his life, including the footwork just now. It was a set of qigong that Lin Yi almost never used. It was a trump card that he would only use when he had no other choice. Mother ***, brothers go. He dared to hit Brother Baldy. Let's cripple him. Several of Baldy's underlings clamored as they surrounded Lin Yi. Can't you tell what's going on? Your boss has already knelt down. A few seconds ago, he wanted me to kneel down. Lin Yi looked at Baldy's subordinates. Drive your car away. I don't want to argue with you. Lin Yi had already exposed his strength. The only thing he could do now was to talk to Chu Pingzhan and ask him to find a bodyguard to replace him. Otherwise, he would bring a lot of trouble to Chu Pingzhan if he stayed in Songshan. Of course, he hoped that these gangsters weren't Zhang Yingjuan's men, and it was just a coincidence. This isn't the time for you to argue. You touched our boss, so you have to stay. One of Baldy's underlings pointed at Lin Yi. Otherwise, we won't be able to show our faces in the future. Fine. Lin Yi had no choice. His strength would be exposed sooner or later. The phantom Qinggong and the chop just now could confuse the enemy to a certain extent, making them unable to see his strength clearly. The speed of phantom Qinggong couldn't be achieved by those who didn't practice it. However, Lin Yi's technique was an exception. That chop was the most common fighting technique, but there wasn't a trace of qi in it. This way, although the enemy would be suspicious of the chop, they would be afraid of Lin Yi's phantom Qinggong. They wouldn't be able to guess Lin Yi's strength in such a short time. When they were suspicious, it would create precious time for Lin Yi. But now, Lin Yi couldn't confuse them anymore in front of so many people. He could defeat these people with fighting techniques and not his strength. He believed that he wouldn't be able to fool those people. Half a minute later, Baldy's underlings were the same as Baldy. They all kneeled on the ground and groaned. Lin Yi didn't do anything to them. He only broke some of their limbs and ribs. This was the punishment they deserved. Lin Yi found the car key from Baldy's hand. He moved his Nissan van away and returned to his car. He drove away. During this time, not a single security guard appeared. This meant that this matter was unusual. Lin Yi had to prepare as soon as possible. Phew! Tang Yin looked at Lin Yi, who got in the car unscathed, and let out a sigh of relief. Didn't you say that you lost your strength? You scared me to death. Even if I lost my strength, I'm still a bit stronger than ordinary people. Lin Yi smiled. He didn't want Tang Yin to worry, so he didn't say his suspicions. These people are despicable. Tang Yin didn't know that this was a premeditated provocation. Where are we going now? Tang Yin didn't feel the approaching danger. She was still immersed in happiness. She looked forward to the future and the beautiful days she would have with Lin Yi, a man farming and a woman weaving, holding hands and growing old with him. Let me send you back to the hospital. I still have some things to take care of before I leave. I won't have time to look for you these 2 days, Lin Yi said. Oh, Tang Yin was a bit disappointed, but she didn't say it out loud. Lin Yi had his own things to do. Tang Yin wouldn't bother him like that. Lin Yi stopped the car in front of the hospital. Tang Yin, who was sitting in the passenger seat, didn't want to leave. She held onto Lin Yi's hand. She didn't know when they would meet again. Tang Yin didn't want to let go. Lin Yi was her first love and the firm choice she made in her life. Although it was short, it was unforgettable. Then, I'm leaving. Be careful. Tang Yin knew that this wasn't the time to be affectionate. Although she didn't want to, she still let go of Lin Yi's hand and prepared to get out of the car. Okay, I'll wait for you to find me, Lin Yi smiled. Okay. Tang Yin opened the door and got out of the car. She turned around and quickly kissed Lin Yi's cheek. Then she turned around and ran away with a red face. Tang Yin had used her actions to prove her sincerity. Tang Yin was a conservative girl. She took the initiative to kiss Lin Yi. In her heart, she already saw herself as his woman. Huh? Lin Yi touched the place where Tang Yin kissed and couldn't help but smile. This was a girl who deserved to be protected for life, wasn't she? Chapter 9:15. Revenge must be paid. Not long after Lin Yi left a parking lot of the Starlight Hotel, Sihua got out of the MPV parked in the right corner of the parking lot. Together with Su Jiaonong and the others, they quickly carried Baldy and his men into one of the rooms. In the private room sat Yao Wang and Zhao Qibing. After Sihua and Su Jiaonong carried Baldy and his men in, Yao Wang started checking their injuries. Sihua bro, that kid is too strong. Our brothers got hurt doing things for you. Baldy cried out, trying to take credit. Don't worry, I'll pay you the amount I promised you. I'll even give you some medical fees. Sihua said, Stop howling. Shut up if you want to be treated. Baldy shut his mouth when he heard that Sihua was going to give them medical fees. He and his men were a group of desperados, hired by Sihua from another city. Their main purpose was to test Lin Yi. Of course, Sihua didn't tell them about Lin Yi's strength. He only told them to teach Lin Yi a lesson. Baldy, naturally, agreed happily, but he didn't expect to run into a tough opponent. He and his men were all crippled. Of course, what he didn't know was that Lin Yi hadn't recovered his strength yet. Otherwise, they would have died an even worse death. Yao Wang carefully checked the injuries of Baldy and his men. He waved his hand at Sihua. "Send them to the hospital, I'm done." "Yes." Sihua quickly ordered Su Jiaonong and the others to take Baldy out of the room. After they were gone, Sihua asked, "Yao Wang, how is it? Did you notice anything wrong?" "They're all heart injuries. There's no sign of pure energy damage." Yao Wang said, "Lin Yi likes to use pure energy to hurt people. From this, I can tell that Lin Yi's strength hasn't recovered yet. Can you tell me more about what happened when Lin Yi attacked?" "Yes." Sihua quickly told Yao Wang about how Baldy came looking for trouble and how Lin Yi made his move. The Medicine King nodded his head and laughed. "If that's the case, then if my judgment is correct, Lin Yi's strength is indeed gone. What he had left was just a little bit stronger than an ordinary person's martial arts. It's just a van. If it was the Lin Yi of the past, he would be able to move it with just a push. There was no need for him to look for the key to drive." "Oh, does that mean that Lin Yi is really done for this time?" Zhao Qibing was overjoyed. "It seems like that Ma Zhu has some ability. He did cause some damage to Lin Yi. Does that mean we have a chance?" "Master Bing, although according to Yao Wang's judgment, Lin Yi has lost his strength, but we shouldn't be impatient. We should let others find trouble with Lin Yi first. We'll just sit back and watch the tigers fight." Sihua said, "Let the Shao family be the vanguard." "That's right. Then hurry up and spread the news that Lin Yi is injured and hasn't recovered yet, and Uncle Fu is heavily injured as well, and he's about to die." Qibing cackled. "Let them have their revenge. Let them complain." "Yes, Master Bing. I'll go spread the news right now." Sihua nodded, a sinister smile on his face as well. In a beautiful mountain forest, a young married woman in plain clothes sat in a pavilion and played the zither. The young married woman was extremely beautiful, but it was impossible to tell her age from her appearance. She could be said to be in her 30s, or maybe only in her 20s. If it weren't for her fingers moving back and forth on the zither, it would look like a painting from afar. Mountains and rivers, birds, the fragrance of flowers, and a beauty. In fact, it was hard to determine the age of the young woman. The reason why she was called a young woman instead of a young girl was because she didn't have the innocence of a young girl anymore. Instead, there was a sense of maturity and stability. However, if Lin Yi was here, he would probably shout out in surprise. The young woman's appearance was very similar to a person. It was as if they were carved from the same mold. After the song ended, the young woman raised her head sadly and looked at the mountains. Not only was she not intoxicated by the beauty of nature, she sighed with melancholy. "Master, elderly, who is in charge of the Dark Shadow group, has something important to discuss with you." A girl in green quickly ran to the pavilion and said respectfully, "Oh, quick, invite him over." The young woman heard the words elderly, and her melancholy face turned into joy. "Yes, Palace Master." The girl in green quickly retreated. After a while, the girl in green walked over with a man in black. The man was about 50 years old and didn't have an outstanding appearance. On the contrary, he was very ordinary. He was the type that couldn't be found in a crowd. "Greetings, Palace Master." The man walked over and saw the young woman called Palace Master. He cupped his fists and bowed. "Elderly is too polite." Palace Master Su Yi waved her hand, indicating that the man didn't need to be so polite. She asked anxiously, "Elderly is in such a hurry to see me. Is there something important?" "Yes." Elderly looked at the girl in green beside him and hesitated. He didn't say anything. Palace Master Su Yi ordered the girl in green, "Little Qing, you can leave first. Guard the mountain path and don't let anyone come near." I have something important to discuss with elderly. Yes, Palace Master. The green-clothed girl nodded and quickly pushed the door open. Uncle Lee, there are no outsiders here. What happened? Palace Master. Sue-Yi stood up. She seemed to be very close to Elderly. Elderly waited for the girl in green to disappear before he took a few steps forward and came to the pavilion. He lowered his voice, but his expression was still respectful as he said, Miss, it's about the young miss. What happened? Did you encounter any trouble? Palace Master Sue-Yi's face revealed a nervous expression when she heard Elder Lee's words. The young lady has been kidnapped, said Elderly. However, before he could finish, Palace Master Sue-Yi interrupted him. What? She has been kidnapped? Who is it? Is it serious? Palace Master Sue-Yi's heart tightened and she quickly asked, Chapter 9:16. She really couldn't let it go. What? There's no one by her side to protect her? What if Zhen In-jun takes revenge on her? Palace Master Sue-Yi wasn't as calm as she was when she played the zither. She was like a girl who lost her sense of propriety. Son-in-law should be able to find someone to protect young miss. When Elderly said this, even he himself was a little uncertain. What do we do? Uncle Lee, do you have any ideas? Do you have anyone we can use? Palace Master Sue-Yi asked hurriedly. Miss, there's nothing I can do. Ever since old master left, the great elder was afraid that Miss hasn't given up, so he weakened my influence. Although I'm the first elder now, I can only mobilize the dark shadow group that I single-handedly built. Elderly sighed and said helplessly, The great elder has shrunk his power, and it's impossible to mobilize experts in the Palace of Darkness without the great elder's approval. But will she be in danger? Palace Master Sue-Yi frowned uneasily. Elderly wanted to say something, but was interrupted by a cold snicker. Humph, how can you be so impatient? You don't look like a palace master at all. An old woman in her 60s suddenly appeared at the side of the pavilion. She looked at Elder Lee and Palace Master Sue-Yi sternly. Supreme Elder, why are you here? Palace Mistress Sue-Yi was startled by the sudden voice. Greetings, Grand Elder. Elder Lee cupped his fists and bowed to the Grand Elder. I'm sorry, Palace Master. The Grand Elder insisted on coming up. I didn't dare to stop her. Qing shrunk back in fear. Palace Master Sue-Yi shook her head. How could she blame Qing now? Little Qing was only her personal maidservant. How could she dare to stop the Grand Elder? You're the Palace Master. You need to act like one. Don't think that I don't know about you using Elder Lee's dark shadow group to investigate the secular world. I just turned a blind eye to it. The Grand Supreme Elder looked coldly at Palace Master Sue-Yi. It's been so many years, yet you still can't let it go? Grand Elder, she is my daughter after all. The blood of our Dark Phoenix clan flows in her. Palace Master Sue-Yi was like a child who had done something wrong. She didn't dare to look the Grand Elder in the eye. Daughter, it's just a little vile spawn. This kind of impure bloodline is nothing more than a disgrace to us ancient martial arts cultivators. The Grand Supreme Elder snorted. You still have the nerve to mention such a big scandal? Do you want the Palace of Darkness to take this bastard back? Let the Heavenly Elixir sect laugh at us? Palace Mistress Sue-Yi, who was called didn't say anything. She lowered her head, feeling wronged. Humph! If you had married the second young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, we wouldn't be in such an awkward situation now. Would we be laughed at by the other sects? At this point, the Supreme Elder seemed to have touched upon a sad past. He coldly snorted and said to in the future, you'd better calm down and concentrate on cultivation. Break through the earth rank and reach the heaven rank within 10 years. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing that adulterer and little bastard." Then the Grand Supreme Elder floated away, leaving Palace Master One-Air with a face full of grievance. "Miss, I really can't do anything. I'm sorry." Elderly sighed. The Grand Supreme Elder is doing this for the Palace of Darkness. Although she is an extremely snobbish person, she has never married. She has dedicated her entire life to the Palace of Darkness. She is Madame Dowager's subordinate, and they are like sisters. I am 1 generation lower than her. I know, but I really can't let it go." Palace Master One-Air couldn't help but shed a line of tears. "Miss, there is something that I don't know if I should say." Elder Lee hesitated and said, "Uncle Lee, just say it. What can't you say?" Palace Master One-Air looked at Elder Lee in confusion. "Miss, the Grand Supreme Elder is actually disappointed that you didn't live up to his expectations. If you really break through to heaven rank within 10 years, our Palace of Darkness will have 2 heaven rank masters. At the heaven rank conference, our Palace of Darkness will also have a place. At that time, if you recognize the little miss, who will laugh at our Palace of Darkness? Who will dare to laugh at our Palace of Darkness? I'm afraid the Grand Supreme Elder won't be able to say anything else, right?" Elder Lee hesitated. "But breaking through to heaven rank is easy to say, but how difficult is it to actually do it?" Palace Master One-Air nodded and sighed. "Miss is talented and smart, and has the blood of the Dark Phoenix. It's only a matter of time before she breaks through to heaven rank." Elder Lee said, "Uncle Lee, help me keep an eye on her." Palace Master One-Air said, "Don't worry, Mississippi taking care of the little miss is also my responsibility." Elder Lee nodded. After sending Tang Yun off, Lin Yi drove back to the villa. On the way, he wanted to give Pingzhan a call. He had something important to discuss with him, but before he could make the call, Pingzhan's call came in. "Hello, Uncle Chu." Lin Yi picked up. "HM. E, where are you?" Yao said you went on a date with Tang Yin?" Pingzhan asked. "I'm on my way back to the villa. What's up?" Lin Yi didn't catch the hidden meaning in Pingzhan's words. He was in a rush to tell Pingzhan about the exposure of his strength, so he didn't consider the meaning in his words. "It's nothing. We'll talk about it when you come back." Pingzhan didn't say much after hearing that Lin Yi was coming back. "All right, I want to talk to you two." Lin Yi paused and nodded. Although Lin Yi didn't know why Pingzhan was looking for him, it had to have something to do with the disappearance of his strength. Lin Yi parked the car in the villa's yard and walked in. He saw the miss and Shu watching TV on the sofa in the living room. But the show they were watching was the housewife training program that they didn't want to watch the most. But now the two of them were watching it with great interest. Lin Yi couldn't understand the interests of these 2 girls. They were jumping around a little too much. The sound of Lin Yi opening the door attracted Pingzhan's attention. Pingzhan walked out of Lin Yi's room and nodded at Lin Yi. "You're back." Chapter 9:17. Pingzhan's Terms Mingyao blushed, thinking that Lin Yi already knew what her father wanted to talk to him about. That was why she suggested going into the room. "Okay." Pingzhan nodded and entered the room with Lin Yi. Pingzhan closed the door and gestured for Lin Yi to sit. Sit anywhere you like. We're family, no need to be so formal." "Okay, Uncle Chu." Lin Yi was used to Pingzhan's friendliness. He sat in front of him. I heard from Yao that you've lost all your strength, so you're resigning. Is that true?" Pingzhan asked. "Yes, Uncle Chu. To tell you the truth, I'm not much stronger than a normal person right now. I'm afraid I can't even protect myself. I don't have the strength to protect Yao and Shu." Lin Yi nodded calmly. "So I have no choice but to resign." "I see." Pingzhan nodded. "It's fine if you lose your strength. Being a normal person isn't that bad. Oh, do you like business?" "Business?" Lin Yi paused, not understanding what Pingzhan meant. "It's all right. All roads lead to Rome. You can be successful in business as well, Pingjan said. You're the second biggest shareholder of Pingjan Industries, right? Learning how to do business isn't a bad thing. I'll retire one day, but Pingjan Industries still needs to be passed down. Lin Yi paused after hearing the words. Pingjan didn't say it out loud, but the meaning behind his words was clear. Lin Yi wasn't an idiot. Pingjan was hinting that he could be nurtured as an heir. Uncle Chu, Pingjan Industries needs to be handed over to Yao Yao. How could we hand it over to an outsider? Lin Yi shrugged with a smile, rejecting Pingjan's suggestion. Haha, Pingjan smiled and changed the topic. What do you think of Yao Yao? Yao Yao. It's pretty good. Lin Yi looked at Pingjan suspiciously, not knowing how to answer the sudden question. Oh, then do you like Yao Yao? Pingjan didn't get anything from hinting at Lin Yi about the group, so he decided to get straight to the point. Quack? Lin Yi froze, his eyes wide. Pingjan's question was a little too much for Lin Yi to answer. Of course he did. But before Lin Yi understood Pingjan's intentions, there were some things he couldn't say. Yao Yao is cute and pretty. She's the campus belle, and also a goddess in the eyes of many guys. Lin Yi changed his way of saying it, but he also hinted that he thought the same way. Outside Lin Yi's room, 2 little spies had already appeared and were monitoring the conversation in the room. When Pingjan asked the question, Mingyao's heart tightened and her breathing quickened. Oh, Yao Yao, what do you think Shield Bro would say? Yushu asked. Don't say anything. Mengyao was afraid that Yushu would interrupt and miss Lin Yi's words. But when Lin Yi's answer stopped in Mingyao's ears, she was a little happy but also a little disappointed. Why did Lin Yi always change the topic? Why did he have to talk about other people, whether he liked her or not? Haha, what about you? Pingjan looked at Lin Yi. I think any guy who's been with her for a long time would like her. Lin Yi shrugged. Pingjan didn't give up, so he could only answer like this. All right, I'll put it another way. Pingjan saw through Lin Yi's thoughts. The future of Pingjan Industries, I want to hand it over to you and let you bring it to greater heights. Lin Yi naturally understood what Pingjan was getting at. No wonder Pingjan had brought up the group before, and now that he was bringing it up, Lin Yi knew everything. Uncle Chu, I have a girlfriend. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I think you know that I just went on a date with her and I gave her an engagement ring. Oh! Pingjan froze after hearing Lin Yi's words. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be serious about Tang Yin. This was going to be difficult. His daughter could accept Shu, but could she accept Tang Yin? Uncle Chu! Actually, I know that you care about me, and I'm very grateful for that. Lin Yi said, but marriage is a big thing, and we still need the consent of the person in question. I think that Yao Yao doesn't like me. Maybe under your suggestion, Yao Yao will agree to this out of gratitude towards me. This is unfair to her. Also, it's unfair to Tang Yin. Lin Yi really didn't think that Miss would like him. Of course, she was grateful. As for the jealousy with Tang Yin, it was also because of Shu's instigation. From Lin Yi's point of view, Mrs. feelings towards him were more of the gratitude towards him for saving her life and the sense of security that living with him gave her. Mengyao's tears gushed out in an instant. Who said that I don't like him? I like him, I like him. Mengyao wanted to rush into the house and explain it to Lin Yi, but she couldn't muster up the courage to do so. Lin Yi's attitude had already said everything. He wouldn't give up on Tang Yin, so what else could she say? Wasn't that asking for humiliation? Was she going to beg Lin Yi to let her be his mistress, and Yushu be his mistress? Miss couldn't do such a thing, nor could she say it out loud. From what I see, Yao Yao and Tang Yin's relationship isn't bad. Pingjan didn't think that Lin Yi would reject it so firmly, although Pingjan didn't think that his daughter would fight with other girls for Lin Yi. From his point of view, a good man should be loyal, just like himself. But for the sake of his father's promise, and for the sake of his daughter's happiness, Pengzhan's words revealed a hint of compromise. In other words, if Tang Yin and Meng Yao didn't mind, he wouldn't mind either. Lin Yi was stunned. He really couldn't understand how he could make Pengzhan look at him in such a different light. From the beginning, Pengzhan had been very polite to him. It didn't seem like the relationship between an employer and an employee at all. Yes, Lin Yi was really curious. He didn't know what kind of secret was hidden in this. The old man didn't say anything, and Pengzhan was also vague about it. But Lin Yi felt that there must be something he didn't know. Chapter 918. Never liked him. Lin Yi, you're a smart man. I think you understand what I mean. Chu Pengzhan looked at Lin Yi and said, Uncle Chu, why are you so nice to me? Lin Yi couldn't help but ask. There's a reason behind it, but it involves some secrets, and I can't reveal it right now. Pengzhan smiled bitterly. His father didn't tell him the exact reason either. Pengzhan could only remember his father telling him firmly that if he wanted to see his wife again, if he wanted House Chu to prosper, then he'd have to let Yao Yao keep Lin Yi. Pengzhan didn't know why his father was so certain either. He'd asked him about it, but his father had told him that it wasn't time yet. Lin Yi sighed and smiled. I appreciate Uncle Chu's trust and love, but even if I agree, I don't think Yao Yao will agree. This time, I'm going back to my old home to find a way to recover my strength. Tang Yin will go with me. Yao Yao is the daughter of a rich family. How could she stand that kind of environment? A straw hut, a public toilet, warm in summer and cold in winter, it's really hard. Plus, I don't want to hurt Tang Yin. Pengzhan didn't think that Lin Yi would still insist on leaving. He wanted Lin Yi to stay because he wanted Lin Yi to stay in Songshan. But the thought of his daughter suffering with Lin Yi put him in a difficult position. Would his daughter agree? Meng Yao really wanted to rush into the room and tell Lin Yi, I can handle it, after hearing Lin Yi's words. Why can't I? If Tang Yin can do it, so can I. However, Lin Yi's last sentence stopped the eldest miss in her tracks and stopped the impulse in her heart. Lin Yi didn't want to hurt Tang Yin. Yes, even if she could accept Tang Yin and become Lin Yi's concubine, would Tang Yin be willing? Why would others accept him? Shoo, let's go. It was Meng Yao's first time confessing to Lin Yi through her father, only to be rejected mercilessly. The Miss Fragile Heart was very, very hurt. Yao Yao, Shield Bro seems to like you. Don't you want to try harder? Yushu could tell that Meng Yao was sad. Humph, who does he think he is? You want to have 3 or 4 wives. Dream on. Meng Yao stomped her foot. Let him go, he'll go. Who cares about him? He's just a bodyguard. I'll ask Daddy to find me someone more powerful. Someone 10 times more powerful and handsome than him. I don't like him at all. What a narcissistic fellow. Oh, Yao Yao sis, although it feels good to lie to yourself. If you want to cry, just cry. Yushu is your strong shield. I'll always be with you. Yushu said. Cry. Huh. Why am I crying? Lin Yi's blind. Why would I cry? Meng Yao stumbled up the stairs and fell onto the bed. She couldn't hold it in any longer, and tears started flowing down her cheeks uncontrollably. Yushu stood at the door, deep in thought. Actually, Yao Yao's problem wasn't a problem at all. She just wanted to be a small wife, and everything would be fine. Yao Yao sis, maybe I should go talk to Tang Yin? Yushu asked carefully. Talk about what? Do you think I need someone else's charity? Meng Yao couldn't hold it in any more. She hugged Yushu and started sobbing. Don't cry, Yao Yao, Yushu supports you. Yushu said quickly. Shu, was I wrong from the start? Meng Yao asked blankly after crying for a while. She was tired from crying. I don't know, but I don't think you should give up, Yao Yao. Yushu said, so what if you don't give up? Meng Yao shook her head. All right, Shu, I'm fine, I'm happy again. Let's not talk about him anymore. Yao Yao, you're lying. Yushu said, I don't like him at all. I've never liked him, not now, not in the past, and never in the future. Meng Yao shook her head firmly. Oh, forget it. I still want to help you. Yushu shook her head disappointedly. You have a way. Meng Yao paused and looked at Yushu. You don't like him. What's the point of me saying it? Yushu shook her head again. Then just say it. Let's just pretend we're just chatting, okay? It's pointless now anyway. Meng Yao said, Who knows? Maybe you'll like him in the future. Just treat it as a practice. Oh, actually, I think the most important thing now is to make Shield Bro stay. Yushu said, Otherwise, if Shield Bro and Tang Yin hide in the mountains, we won't be able to find any opponents. Ugh. But doesn't he have to go back? Meng Yao asked. But as long as Shield Bro recovers, he can come back. Yushu said. So we can talk to him. As long as he recovers, he'll come back to the villa. That way you'll have a chance. Yes, you'll have a chance. Meng Yao was a stubborn person. But how do you know that he'll definitely recover? I'm a prophet, Shu. Although I'm a crow sometimes, my words are very accurate. Yushu said with self-awareness. Oh, up to you. I don't really care. Meng Yao didn't know why, but she was secretly happy in her heart. She didn't show any expression on her face. Don't worry, Yao Yao. Leave it to me, Yushu said confidently. In the study downstairs, Lin Yi didn't know that the miss overheard his conversation with Pingzhan. But even if he knew, Lin Yi would still say it. Although it was a little hurtful, Lin Yi had to do it. He had a good impression of Meng Yao and Yushu. It was a fact. But he couldn't hurt everyone because of the truth. Wouldn't he cause trouble for Meng Yao if he stayed in the villa? If his enemies came looking for him, they would definitely be dragged into this. This wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. So no matter what, Lin Yi had to leave. Don't you want to reconsider? Pingzhan looked at Lin Yi with a bitter smile. He didn't expect that Lin Yi wouldn't budge even after he laid his cards on the table. Uncle Chu, actually I want to stay here too. Lin Yi shrugged. But I have a lot of enemies. They'll come looking for me soon. If that happens, I won't be able to protect myself, and I won't be able to protect Yao Yao and Shu. Wouldn't that be harming everyone? Chapter 919. The forces that wanted to make trouble. Uncle Chu, even if you hired a bodyguard, I can't just stay in the villa for the rest of my life. I can't just stay there and be protected by others, can I? Lin Yi said helplessly. I have to regain my strength. That's why I'm resigning and looking for a way to recover my strength. You're right. A man's ambition is to travel far and wide. Pingzhan nodded. Can't you recover your strength in the villa? It's very difficult. I don't have a way now. I can only go out and look for a way, Lin Yi said. If that's the case, then I won't stop you. Pingzhan saw that Lin Yi had made up his mind and didn't try to persuade him anymore. But I hope that after you leave you can treat this place as your home, a place where you can hide from the wind. I will, Lin Yi nodded. Yao Yao, Shu and I will always be good friends. Good. Pingzhan didn't say anything else. After all, it wasn't his place to interfere with young people's business. Since things had come to this, Pingzhan could only wish Lin Yi well. I hope you can recover your strength as soon as possible. Thank you, Uncle Chu. Lin Yi smiled bitterly in his heart. Recover his strength? He didn't have much confidence in himself. Leaving the villa, in his old man's words, was just going to seek refuge. How could it be that easy to recover strength? There were so many spiritual practitioners in the world who lost their martial arts because their meridians were damaged. They had to accept the fact that they were useless and practice physical arts again. However, because of their injuries, even if they started training again, it would be difficult for them to achieve much. Most of them stopped at the peak of the late phase of the golden class, and they never broke through again in their lives. It was easy to practice physical arts at the beginning, but once you reached a certain bottleneck, it was hard to break through. Body refinement at the limit was very slow to improve. For people like Ma Zhu, Unless they were talented and had a good physique, they wouldn't be able to reach such a level. Thinking about it, Ma Zhu must be even more depressed than him. He could still practice physical arts with his meridians broken, but what about Ma Zhu? Perhaps he would have to go back home to farm. However, Uncle Chu, I feel that my enemies have noticed that I have lost my strength, so I think you should find a bodyguard to replace me as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will be in trouble. Lin Yi said with a serious look and continued, After all, many of my enemies are also your enemies. Many of them became enemies with me because they wanted to deal with Yao Yao. If they can't find me, I'm afraid they will turn back to deal with you and Yao Yao. I know that. Pingzhan nodded. I've already contacted Fauberts Jr. He's also a bodyguard for someone. His employer left the country a while ago, but he's currently working as a cash escort for a wealthy businessman. It's a one-time mission, and he'll be able to come back after the mission is over. But he gave me the number of a bodyguard company that specializes in providing temporary bodyguards for rich people. I hired one there to temporarily replace him. Oh, what's his strength? Lin Yi asked. It's said that he's a mystic, Pingzhan said. In terms of strength, there's no problem. As long as it's not a deep grudge, he should be able to intimidate those enemies. Lin Yi thought about it and asked, When will he come? In these 2 days, Pingzhan said. If not today, then tomorrow. All right, I'm relieved. Lin Yi nodded. Pingzhan left the villa after the conversation with Lin Yi. There were a lot of things to do in the company these 2 days, and he had no time to spare. However, Lin Yi didn't see the miss and Shu come downstairs the whole night. Lin Yi guessed that they were catching up on sleep because they didn't sleep well while taking care of him for the past few days. The next morning, Meng Yao and Yushu came downstairs hand in hand. The miss was no different than usual, and Lin Yi didn't suspect anything. Lin Yi, when are you leaving? Meng Yao asked. In these 2 days, I'll leave when Uncle Chu's bodyguards arrive. Lin Yi said, a little sad. And are you leaving from the villa? Meng Yao asked. I think so. Lin Yi nodded. Then tell me and Shu will send you off. Meng Yao said. All right. Lin Yi looked at Meng Yao curiously. The miss seemed a little too calm, wasn't she? Was she different from yesterday? In the villa district, Xiao family had moved into the newly purchased villa. Xiao Ji was glaring at his wife. Go Huli, look at what you've done. What kind of people did you offend? Thank God I didn't listen to you and sent Uncle Pai to cause trouble for Pingzhan. Otherwise, it would be our Xiao family in trouble. What's wrong? Wasn't it my second brother's idea? Why did it have to do with me? Go Huli felt wronged. Didn't we investigate it? In Pingzhan's house, there's a golden class, late, phase, peak, physical practitioner called Faubert. Our Uncle Pai is a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner. Humph. But other than Faubert, Pingzhan has another practitioner with him, a mystic early phase peak spiritual practitioner. Xiao Ji said, Thank God I paid a visit to Master Bing. Otherwise, we'd still be in the dark. A spiritual master at the peak of the early phase of the mystic class is on par with a physical master at the middle phase of the mystic class. If they really fight, they have a physical master at the peak of the late phase of the golden class to help them. House Xiao will be the one at a disadvantage. Ah, no way, right? This Pingzhan, a small businessman, was this strong? How is that possible? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Go Huli was shocked, her mouth wide open in disbelief. Humph. How could Master Bing be mistaken? Xiao Ji humphed coldly. That mystic early phase peak spiritual practitioner is called Lin Yi, and he broke Master Bing's legs. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Now Master Bing hates him to the core. How could he have made a mistake about his strength? No way. He even dares to beat up Master Bing? Is he tired of living? Go Huli was shocked. Then what should I do? Wouldn't I be losing for nothing? Then what do you want? He has 2 practitioners with him, and we're just wasting our time fighting him head-on. Xiao Ji was actually quite troubled as well. He'd wanted to squeeze a large sum of money from Pengzhan, so that Xiao family's business in Songshan would be a lot better off. He didn't expect to find out that Pengzhan wasn't as simple as he seemed. There were hidden dragons and crouching tigers around him. Chapter 920. Xiao family makes a move. Oh, what is it? Xiao Ji paused. Li Fu was injured. We don't know if he's dead or alive, and Pengzhan's daughter was kidnapped as well. She was rescued by that Lin bodyguard, but that Lin seems to be injured quite badly as well. Xiao Ben grinned. The police have already leaked the news, but it's not a secret to us. Oh, someone dares touch Pengzhan? Xiao Ji paused at Xiao Ben's words. Who did it? Do they have a master? House Zhan of Donghai. They blackmailed Pengzhan for 250 million, and they have a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner helping them. Xiao Ben said, I heard that he's injured as well, and is being treated at Master Bing's place. I haven't asked Master Bing about it yet, so I don't know the specifics. But one thing is for sure, this is a great opportunity for our Xiao family. 250 million, that much? Xiao Ji's eyes flashed with desire as he licked his lips. We were thinking of asking for 100 million at first, but we didn't expect them to be even more ruthless than us. Second brother, hurry up and ask around. If Pengzhan's bodyguards are dead, then it's a great opportunity for our Xiao family to take advantage of them. Naturally, I know that. Xiao Ben nodded. I've already sent Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao to ask around, and I'm sure we'll get some news soon. We can't hide this, even if we want to. Wahahaha, the heavens are really helping our Xiao family. Xiao Ji laughed as he looked at his wife. Huli, you've done a great job this time. Otherwise, Xiao family wouldn't have any reason to ask for money from Pengzhan. Then why did you yell at me just now? Huli was overjoyed to hear that House Chu's bodyguards were gone. Not only could she get revenge for herself, but Xiao family would also get a huge sum of money. Haha, I didn't understand the situation just now, did I? Xiao Ji hugged his wife happily. Don't worry, House Chu will definitely be taken advantage of by us this time. Brother, how much should we ask for this time? The 100 million we agreed on last time is really not much. Xiao Ben also felt that the Xiao family would most likely get some benefits this time. The Zhan family really dares to demand an exorbitant price. 250 million. Pengzhan actually gave it to me. We need at least 200 million. Xiao Ji said, This Pengzhan sure is rich. If we don't ask for more, we'll be letting down the good opportunity that the Zhan family has created for us. As the two of them were talking, Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao came back. The moment they entered, Xiao Wangba shouted excitedly, Dad's second uncle, good news! Super good news! Oh, what good news? Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben looked at each other. They could guess what the other was thinking. Li Fu's life or death is still unknown, and that Lin he has lost all his strength. Xiao Wangba said, the news has already spread outside. How reliable is the information? Xiao Ji was delighted and quickly asked, I'm not too sure about that, but Dad, don't you know Master Bing? You can ask him for confirmation. Master Bing is a local tyrant, so he should be able to get the most accurate information. Xiao Wangba said, All right, I'll call Master Bing right now. Xiao Ji nodded and took out his phone to call Master Bing. Qibing waited for the Xiao family's response after Zihua released the news. He didn't think that the Xiao family would be so impatient to call him after just one day. Qibing laughed and picked up the phone. Hello, I'm Zhao Qibing. Master Bing, I'm Xiao Ji from the Xiao family. Xiao Ji was very respectful towards Qibing. He was from a noble house, so naturally he knew that Qibing came from a hidden noble house, a house even bigger than the noble houses. Qibing was a bastard, but his family was very powerful. Oh, it's Uncle Xiao. What's the matter, Uncle Xiao? Qibing pretended not to know. It's like this. I heard that something happened to Pingzhan. Xiao Ji had asked Master Bing about Pingzhan before, and his words revealed his hatred towards Pingzhan. He wanted to see Master Bing's attitude. If Master Bing wanted to protect Pingzhan, then Xiao Ji wouldn't do anything to Pingzhan. However, he didn't expect Master Bing and Pingzhan to be enemies, and so Xiao Ji expressed his intentions without holding back. Oh, Uncle Xiao, you're asking about this? Qibing thought. As expected, he couldn't wait any longer. But that was good. The more people there were to deal with Lin Yi and House Chu, the happier he would be. He said, That's right, I've already sent people to investigate. Li Fu's injuries are very serious, and he hasn't recovered yet. That Lin Yi has lost all his strength and has become a normal person. Uncle Xiao, you can deal with them without worry. Haha, is that so? So it's you, Master Bing? Xiao Ji was overjoyed. He was worried that the news wasn't accurate, but now that it was Qibing himself, he relaxed. You know the grudge between me and Lin Yi. Now that something like this has happened to him, I want to deal with him as well. Qibing paused on purpose. Zhen Dazhou extorted so much money from Pingzhan. 250 million. I'm very envious. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to try and get some benefits. Is that so? Haha, all right, thank you, Master Bing. Xiao Ji quickly hung up and said to Xiao Ben impatiently, Brother, it's Xiao Qibing who sent people to investigate Lin Yi. He found out that Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and Faubert's status is unknown as well. Xiao Qibing is very envious of Zhen Dazhou for extorting 250 million from Pingzhan, and he wants to get some benefits as well. So we need to act as soon as possible. Oh, is that so? If that's the case, then we need to act as soon as possible. Otherwise, if Pingzhan gets sucked dry, who do we ask for money from? Xiao Ben nodded. Xiao Qibing will definitely ask for a lot of money. We need to be one step ahead. Yeah, I've already told Xiao Qibing. When the time comes, we'll ask for money first. He won't blame us. Xiao Ji said, Why don't we go now? All right, we'll bring Uncle Pai to Pingzhan now. Xiao Ben gritted his teeth. If we don't make a decision soon, the money will be gone. Chapter 9:21. Arrogantly denouncing the crime. You're Pingzhan, aren't you? The man in the Taoist robe pushed the door open and walked in. The bastards downstairs dared stop me from coming up, so I've taken care of them myself. Ah. Pingzhan paused, shocked by the sudden entrance. May I ask if you're Zhizuan Wei, Mr. Wei? That's me. The man in the Taoist robe nodded and said, The security guards here are too inferior. How dare they come out and embarrass themselves with such skills? The phone on Pingzhan's desk rang just as Wei Zhizuan finished his sentence. Pingzhan smiled bitterly as he picked up the phone. It was indeed the security captain, saying that a domineering man had barged into the company and was looking for Pingzhan. He'd even injured 2 of the security guards. Pingzhan didn't know what to say, but he couldn't blame Wei Zhizuan at a time like this. After all, Faubert's juniors were relying on him. He only told the captain that everything was fine, and told him to send the 2 injured guards to the hospital for treatment. Mr. Wei, you're quite skilled, but you don't have to be calculative with normal people, do you? Pingzhan put down the phone and stood up. My daughter, and I'll be relying on you from now on. Of course, of course. Wei Zhizuan said proudly. I'm a mystic supreme. I have no problem keeping you safe, but as for the commission, the bodyguard company told me already, 200,000 a month, no problem at all. Pingzhan nodded, thinking of Lin Yi. 30,000 was quite cheap, but it was his old man who had set the price, and he didn't have the right to interfere. No, that's the company's price. Wei Zhizuan shook his head. That money is for the company, so you have to pay me 300,000 a month. Pingzhan paused, not expecting Wei Zhizuan to be this greedy. What? You can't afford it? Then I'll have to leave. Wei Jizuin said as he stood up to leave. Please don't be angry, Mr. Wei. Fine, 300,000 it is. Pingzhan had no choice but to agree. 500,000 for a big shot. But Pingzhan had no choice but to keep him. That's what I said. 500,000 to hire a mystic class supreme being. That's a pretty good deal for you. Wei Jizuan nodded and laughed. Pingzhan wasn't too clear on the levels of strength, and he didn't know how strong a mystic prime was, but it sounded like it was pretty strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to raise the price like this. All right, then, according to the contract, the probation period is 1 month, and the salary will start next month. Pingzhan asked, Those are the company's rules. Wei Jizuin shook his head. This Wei's rule is that the probation period is 1 day, and the salary will be paid starting tomorrow. All right, no problem. Pingzhan sighed. Wasn't this bodyguard a little too cocky? Who was the employer? But Wei Jizuin was right. A mystic class, supreme being, a bodyguard for a commoner. How could that be possible if there wasn't a huge benefit to it? But as the two were talking, the office door was pushed open once more, and 3 arrogant people walked in. This time, the security captain downstairs didn't dare to stop them. Who knew what kind of people were coming today? Previously, there was an old man in a Taoist robe who hurt people without saying a word. Now, these 3 people didn't say anything and just rushed inside angrily. Where's Pingzhan? You've got some guts, haven't you? How dare you mess with someone from the Shao family? Shao Ji barked as soon as he walked in. Pingzhan had met Shao Ji before and knew that he was from the Shao family. Pingzhan Industries had done business with the Shao family before. As for what happened to the Shao family recently, Pingzhan knew that the Shao family came to Songshan to invest, but he didn't know why the Shao family would come to his office all of a sudden. It seemed like they were here to interrogate him. Mr. Shao, may I know how I've offended the Shao family? Pingzhan looked at the murderous Shao Ji and Shao Ben, confused. Were these 2 mistaken? Pingzhan Industries' recent business had nothing to do with the Shao family, and there was no way they'd offended the Shao family. Your daughter humiliated my wife. Go Huli. Shao Ji laughed coldly. My Shao family just came to Songshan, and you're already trying to show us who's boss? Is it because the old man who bullied our Shao family just passed away, and our Shao family is unable to recover from this setback? A tiger that falls to the plains will be bullied by dogs. Mr. Shao Ji, what do you mean by that? When did my daughter humiliate your wife? Pingzhan frowned. Besides, there's no way you're trying to show us who's boss. Pingzhan Industries has done business with the Shao family before, and I can't wait to welcome your investment here. Why would I bully you? Humph, you make it sound so nice. Our Shao family is still bigger than a starving camel, and you're one of the biggest corporations in the area. Aren't you afraid that our Shao family will come and take away your business? Shao Ji humphed. So you instigated your daughter to humiliate my wife in every possible way, to attack our Shao family's position in Songshan. Mr. Shao Ji, why am I getting more and more confused? Business is business, and since it's business, naturally there are buyers and sellers. Business is only business when there are more people. Why would I be afraid of you guys taking away my business? Pingzhan had his suspicions, but Shao Ji's words made sense. Pingzhan felt that something wasn't quite right. It seemed like the Shaos were here to cause trouble on purpose. All right, Mr. Chu, we're all smart people. Let's cut the bullshit. Shao Ben, who had been standing at the side, spoke up. Why don't you just ask your daughter? She and this Shu person bullied my sister-in-law. Go Huli, how could we say anything? Pingzhan paused. If Shao Ben said that his daughter was with Shu, then it couldn't be nonsense. Could it be that Yao offended that Go Huli again? All right, since Mr. Shao is so insistent, I'll ask my daughter first. Pingzhan had no choice but to nod. Hurry up. There's a limit to our patience. Xiao Ji's words carried a commanding tone. Chapter 922. Super greedy the matter had just ended. And now the Xiao family was knocking on his door again. Peng Zhan turned and went into his office break room, and the Xiao family didn't follow him in. They just stood there, smiling coldly. In the break room, Peng Zhan dialed his daughter's number, but hung it up after some thought. She was probably at school at this time, so he called Lin Yi directly. Uncle Chu. Lin Yi was at Xuemin's house with Kong Xiaobo and Fatty Lai. He had some things to take care of before he left. Yi, I want to ask you about something. It's about Yao Yao and a person called Go Huli. Peng Zhan said. Oh, Go Huli? Lin Yi paused, remembering this person. He told Peng Zhan about what happened, but it's been a while. Why are you asking about this all of a sudden, Uncle Chu? Go Huli, the wife of the Xiao family's young master, Xiao Ji. Now they're here. Peng Zhan sighed. According to Lin Yi, although Yao Yao and Shu were at fault in the beginning, it was just a small dispute. They only wet Go Huli's clothes, and after Yao Yao and Shu apologized and asked for compensation, Go Huli was being unreasonable, but now the Xiao family was using this as an excuse to say that Yao Yao was the one who insulted Go Huli. It seemed that the Xiao family didn't come with good intentions. Oh. Lin Yi paused. They're from Yanjing's Xiao family? They're here? Lin Yi didn't think that the enemy would come this soon. Meng Yao and Go Huli's dispute had been going on for a while, but the Xiao family hadn't made a move yet. They just had to come when Faubert was injured, and he didn't have any strength left. There had to be a conspiracy behind this. However, Lin Yi was powerless. He had only met the two juniors of the Xiao family once, and he didn't have any advantage in terms of strength. It's nothing. I can still handle it. I just want to verify it with you. Don't worry. Peng Zhan sighed, thanking his lucky stars that Wei Zhizuan had arrived. Otherwise, the Xiao family would have eaten him up for sure. Hanging up the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan turned around and walked out of the lounge. He looked at the Xiao family brothers, then at the old man beside them, and his eyes narrowed. Peng Zhan hadn't noticed this person before, but upon closer inspection, he realized that there was a thick, killing intent emanating from him. Peng Zhan might be a normal person, but facing a master like this still gave him the chills. Could he be the legendary guardian of the Xiao family, Uncle Pai? If it was really him, then the Xiao family must have some ulterior motive for coming here this time. Mr. Xiao, I've already made the phone call, but this matter doesn't seem to be the fault of my daughter alone, does it? Peng Zhan said, neither servile nor overbearing. If we were to say something wrong, it would be that your wife's attitude was a little impatient. Fuck you. What did you say? Xiao Ji couldn't help but curse at Peng Zhan's words. We, the Xiao family, don't need you to teach us what to do. Before the old man of the Xiao family had passed away, Xiao Ji had been a good-for-nothing, hedonistic young master. He had spent his days fighting and mingling with other hedonistic young masters, causing trouble everywhere he went. But at that time, the Xiao family was at its peak, so it didn't matter. These few years, Xiao Ji had toned down a little, but his bad temper and good-for-nothing personality hadn't changed. Peng Zhan's nonsensical words pissed him off. Peng Zhan didn't expect Xiao Ji to be this uncultured, cursing at the slightest disagreement. How is this a meeting between people of status? Mr. Xiao, what's the meaning of this? Peng Zhan took a deep breath. You're here to cause trouble. So what if I am? I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm here to get back at my wife. Xiao Ji hemmed coldly as he kicked the sofa in the office. You dare bully the Xiao family? I think you're tired of living, aren't you? My Xiao family is still a noble house, no matter how weak we are. Who do you think you are, Peng Zhan? Wei Zhizuan, on the other hand, was sitting on the side enjoying the show. Since Peng Zhan didn't ask him to make a move, he was more than happy to watch the show. Only when the situation became more and more dangerous Would he be able to make a move and show his power? Xiao Ji, are you here to cause trouble? What do you want? Just say it. Pingzhan didn't believe that Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were just cursing and smashing things. There had to be some other purpose. All right, big bro, calm down first. Let me talk to Mr. Chu. Xiao Ben was very satisfied with his brother's actions. He'd put Pingzhan in his place first, and the following conditions would be easier to negotiate. So Xiao Ben pretended to persuade Xiao Ji first before continuing. I believe that Mr. Chu is a smart man and will definitely compensate our Xiao family. Am I right, Mr. Chu? Humph. Xiao Ji humphed coldly as he sat on the sofa, not saying another word. Just say what you want, won't you? Pengzhan, of course, knew what the Xiao family brothers were here for. They were just using this as an excuse to ask for some benefits. Good. Xiao Ben looked at Pengzhan and nodded. Our Xiao family is a noble house, and even if we're a little down and out right now, the Xiao family isn't someone you can just humiliate. If Mr. Chu doesn't pay a price, won't everyone start humiliating our Xiao family? What price do you want? Pengzhan asked, suppressing the anger in his heart. It had been so long, and the Xiaos had only just come to their doorstep, and the timing was quite coincidental, coming only when Li Fu and Lin Yi were injured. Pengzhan couldn't help but suspect that they'd come after receiving the news. We won't ask for much. Xiao family is here to do business after all. How about this, Mr. Chu? Why don't you just give us the Pengzhan Mall and Pengzhan Hotel to Xiao family and give us 200 million as a starting capital, and we'll call it quits? Xiao Ben said straightforwardly. Plus, he didn't want to pay up at all. Seeing Pengzhan's angry face, his greed grew. Chapter 9:23. This is your helper? Greedy? You bullied our Xiao family. It's good enough that Pengzhan Industries didn't go bankrupt. Xiao Ji interrupted. Back in the days when our Xiao family was at its peak, if you messed with our Xiao family, we would have taken down your entire Pengzhan Industries. One word from Xiao family, and no one would dare to do business with you. Haha. Xiao Ji, you said it yourself. Xiao family isn't what it used to be. There's no need for us to talk about this anymore. Please leave, Pengzhan said faintly. Since House Xiao had such a big appetite, he'd have to continue being enemies with them. Just wait and see. Pengzhan thought that although Xiao family was a big family, they were new to Songshan, and Pengzhan Industries might not lose to them. Pengzhan, don't fucking refuse a toast, only to drink a forfeit. Xiao Ji slapped his thigh. What are you pretending for? Our Xiao family may not be what it used to be, but how much better can you be? Do you still think you're the Pengzhan from a while ago? Do you know why we came to you now? Do you know why? Pengzhan frowned, his heart skipping a beat. It seemed like he was right, but this Xiao Ji was too arrogant. Your driver, Li Fu, was he crippled? He still hasn't woken up yet, right? That Lin Yi, he's injured too, isn't he? He lost all his strength, right? Xiao Ji continued. We didn't come to you before because we were worried. But now that we're here, we're sure that we'll take you down. If you know what's good for you, you'd better pay up or we'll bring you more excitement. So you've planned this all along. Pengzhan's face was green with anger. The Xiao family brothers were here to take advantage of him. So what? Pengzhan, Earth isn't safe right now. You and your daughter need to be careful. Don't die on the streets. Otherwise, you won't be alive to spend your money. Xiao Ji said coldly. There are too many unsolved cases these days. Mr. Wei, see the guest out. Chu Pengzhan glanced at Wei Zhizuan, who was sitting on the sofa. Fortunately, he was prepared. Otherwise, the Xiao family would definitely eat him alive. Wei Zhizuan stood up in a very arrogant manner. If the background music was added, this scene would often be the scene of an expert appearing in a TV drama. You 3 ignorant children, hurry up and scram for this way. If you dare cause trouble here again, I'll take your lives." Wei Jizuan waved his hand arrogantly and looked at the Shao family brothers and Uncle Pai with disdain. Wei Jizuan's sudden appearance stunned the Shao family brothers. They hadn't noticed Wei Jizuan before, nor did they think he was an expert. "What the hell are you?" Shao Ji looked at Wei Jizuan and asked with disdain. "A mystic. If you don't get lost, I'll send you to the Western Paradise." Wei Jizuan arrogantly looked at Shao Ji and spoke with contempt. "Huh, Pingzhan, I was wondering why you were so cocky. So you've got a new helper?" Shao Ji looked at Wei Jizuan and started laughing. "But it's funny. How come I've never heard of a mystic before? Uncle Pai, have you?" "No, I've never heard of a mystic before," Uncle Pai said faintly. "Ignorant child, how dare you make fun of me? Ah, I'll kill you." Wei Jizuan was enraged at being ignored like this. "Uncle Pai, shut him up." Xiao Ben looked at Wei Jizuan and said to Uncle Pai, "Yes, young master." Uncle Pai moved abruptly, reaching out to slap Wei Jizuan. Wei Jizuan was in the midst of his rage when his body was hit, and his voice stopped abruptly. In an instant, his eyes bulged out and he let out a blood-curdling scream. With a whoosh, he was sent flying and crashed heavily into the wall. He spat out a mouthful of blood and twitched twice on the ground. It was obvious that he had suffered serious internal injuries, just a mystic early-phase physical practitioner, and just broke through to mystic not too long ago. What a mystic supreme! What a frog in a well! Uncle Pai shook his head in disdain. "I thought there was a new level of mystic. How lame, is this your helper? Which garbage station did you pick him out from? Mystic mid-phase?" Wei Jizuan looked at Uncle Pai in disbelief. He didn't expect Uncle Pai to be a mystic mid-phase, 2 whole levels higher than him. Wei Jizuan didn't think that the other party would have a master, and he'd wanted to show off in front of Pingzhan, making him feel that the 500,000 he'd spent was worth it. He didn't think that he'd be killed in one move. In actuality, the 200,000 he'd promised wasn't all for the company. It was only a portion of it, and the majority of it was still for Wei Jizuan. But raising the price was a common trick of these masters, and Wei Jizuan had even thought of helping Pingzhan take care of these guys and then asking for a reward or something. But he was gravely mistaken. The other party's strength was far beyond what he'd imagined. Even if he hadn't been careless, he wouldn't have been a match for a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner, and now he'd been hit by a palm because of his carelessness. Wei Jizuan felt as if his organs had been displaced. It was evident that he'd been crippled. Even if he'd recovered, his kung fu wouldn't be able to recover to his current level. This life was over for him. Wei Jizuan felt sorrowful. He regretted taking this job. It was all his fault for being greedy and careless. However, who could they blame? Not only would he not get a single cent, but he'd also have to leave with his tail between his legs. "Pingzhan, this is a warning for you." Shao Ji was overjoyed as he watched Faubert injure Pingzhan's new master with just one palm. He pointed at Pingzhan and said arrogantly, "I've already given you the terms. I hope you don't do anything stupid that will kill you. I'll give you 1 day to think about it. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Your daughter will be the same, and your entire house Chu will die a horrible death. All right, bro, don't scare him. Who's going to give us the money if he dies?" Xiao Ben waved his hand kindly. "Let's go. Let's let Mr. Chu think about it. I'm sure he's not an idiot." The Xiao brothers laughed heartily as they left Pingzhan's office with Uncle Pai, completely ignoring Pingzhan's dark expression. Chapter 924. Master Bing's heart Wei Jizuan was Pingzhan's only hope. But now that he was heavily injured, what else could he do? Pingzhan really didn't know what to do. He felt a deep sense of powerlessness, a sense of desperation. There was no way he could fight back against the Shao family's naked threat. Pengjan didn't doubt that the Shao family would do something extreme if he didn't agree to their request. After all, the masters around them didn't leave any evidence behind, and even if they killed his daughter, Pengjan wouldn't be able to do anything about it. "Mr. Wei, are you all right? Do you need me to send you to the hospital?" Pengjan turned to Wei Jizuan, hoping that this guy didn't die in his office. Pengjan was a little annoyed. He'd been bragging about how strong he was. But it turned out that he was so weak. He'd contacted a top security company, and this Wei Jizuan was the strongest of them all, but he couldn't even take one hit from the enemy. "No need, I'll be leaving first." Wei Jizuan didn't have the face to stay here any longer. He was heavily injured, but walking wasn't a problem. His face reddened as he quickly left Pengjan's office, looking for a place to heal himself. Pengjan sighed helplessly. Pengjan was a man of his word in Pengjan Industries, but there wasn't anyone around him he could talk to. Li Fu was heavily injured, and Lin Yi had lost his strengths. Pengjan didn't want to tell Lin Yi about this, and Lin Yi would only worry if he did. There was nothing he could do about it. Pengjan gritted his teeth. It seemed like he'd have to take responsibility for this. He felt like he was in trouble both internally and externally. The Shao family was simply too overbearing and arrogant. It was daylight robbery. But even so, Pengjan didn't have a solution. Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, and Uncle Pai left the Pengjan skyscraper together, feeling very refreshed. Pengjan really was, as the rumors said, with the two masters by his side crippled. Why else would he have found this Wei Jizuan instead? But this Jizuan Wei was too useless, and Uncle Pai slapped him to the ground with a single palm. "Brother, do you think Pengjan will give in? Aren't our conditions a little too harsh?" After Xiao Ji got in the car, he asked worriedly, "Didn't we agree at home that we only want 200 million? But we want Pengjan Commercial Building and Pengjan Business Hotel. Don't you think he'll do something desperate?" "Humph, isn't this the same as asking for a sky-high price and selling it on the spot?" Xiao Ben smiled. "We have to get those two industries. As for the 200 million, I'm guessing that Pengjan won't be able to come up with that. It'd be good if he could get 50 million when the time comes, and that'll give him some room to bargain. But if he's stupid enough to give us money, we'll gladly accept it." "Ha ha ha, you're really thoughtful, brother." "That's right, we're the stronger party, and we're asking for a sky-high price. Pengjan can bargain with us when the time comes, and if he doesn't, we'll be making a huge profit." Xiao Ji nodded happily after understanding Xiao Ben's intentions. "Bro, since we've successfully coerced Pengjan, you should at least tell Master Bin about this. After all, he's the one who provided us with the information. It wouldn't be good if we didn't report the results to him, would it?" Xiao Ben suggested after Xiao Ji had calmed down. Of course, of course." Xiao Ji listened to Xiao Ben's suggestion and agreed. "You're really thoughtful, brother. We can't afford to offend Master Bing. Our Xiao family needs to have a good relationship with Master Bing if we want to do business in Songshan in the future." With that, Xiao Ji quickly took out his phone and called Zhao Qibing. Qibing heard from Xihua's informant that the Xiao family brothers had gone to cause trouble for Pengjan. He, too, was looking forward to the news from the Xiao family brothers. Qibing and Xihua were much more cautious this time. They'd sent someone to test Lin Yi's strength, confirming that his strength had dropped drastically. But with the precedent of Uncle Zhu's quick recovery, Qibing and Xihua were afraid that Lin Yi was pretending to be weak, waiting for the enemy to take the bait. So they didn't make a move on Pengjan immediately after receiving the news. Instead, they sent the Xiao family to test the waters. Qibing quickly picked up the call when he saw the Xiao family call. "Hello, I'm Qibing. Master Bing, I'm Xiao Ji." Xiao Ji was a generation older than Qibing, but because of Qibing's background, he had to be respectful in front of him. "Oh, it's Uncle Xiao. What's up?" Qibing pretended not to know. "Ha! Master Bin, I'm calling to thank you. Thank you for the information you gave us. We went to cause trouble for Pengjan." Xiao Ji smiled. "Now that we've succeeded, I'm calling to tell you the good news." "Oh, you succeeded?" Qibing's heart skipped a beat. Did that mean that Lin was really done for? From the looks of it, he could also move a little, but on the surface he didn't show it. "Is that so? Didn't Pingzhan resist?" "Resist? How could he resist? How could he resist?" That Li Fu and Lin were both done for. But Pingzhan wasn't an idiot. He hired another mystic class master from some bodyguard company, thinking that he had something to rely on. He wanted to show off in front of us. But Uncle Pai crippled him with just one move. Pingzhan was scared out of his wits. Ha! Xiao Ji excitedly recounted the events that had transpired. Oh, he found another master. Qibing thought to himself. Luckily, he didn't act rashly. Pingzhan's master wasn't that good, and the Xiao family took advantage of him. Otherwise, the Xiao family would be in trouble. It seemed like his information network wasn't that smooth after all. Yeah, I don't know where all these masters came from. Golden class masters are rare enough in this world, and mystic class masters are only found in noble houses. I didn't think that Pingzhan would be able to hire a mystic class master as well. Speaking of this, Xiao Ji was a little worried. Master Bing, do you think he will hire more powerful helpers? Xiao Ji couldn't be blamed for worrying. He was from a noble house, but he wasn't from a martial arts house. He didn't know as much about masters as Qibing. Chapter 9:25. A piece of the pie. You don't have to worry about that. I don't think I need to tell you what the power behind me is, so I have a say in this matter. Qibing comforted him. Indeed, in the common world, golden class masters are rare existence. There might not even be a few in a city. Only the noble houses have mystic class masters. However, other than the noble houses, there are also mercenary organizations with masters in their hands. It's just that these people are only there for the sake of benefit. They wouldn't appear without benefits. It's like a mercenary organization. As far as I know, the mercenary organizations in the country are strictly supervised by the hidden noble houses. The strongest among them are only mystic early phase. Once they break through to the late phase or mid phase, they'll be recruited by the hidden noble houses. That way, they'll have the chance to break through to Earth class, who would stay in a mercenary organization. Oh, is that so? Then, what if Pingzhan hired someone from abroad? Xiao Ji thought of the foreign mercenary organizations after hearing that there weren't any masters in the country. Do you think Pingzhan has that kind of ability? If he did, his company would have been one of the top 500 companies in the world long ago, not just in the country, Qibing said with disdain. Don't worry, if there were stronger masters he could hire, would he settle for the second best and hire a piece of trash for you to torture? That's true. Xiao Ji finally breathed out in relief and nodded. Thank you for your explanation, Master Bing. Now that you mention it, I'm tempted as well. I want to get some money too. Right. What did you guys extort from Pingzhan? Qibing asked. Xiao Ji panicked when he heard that Qibing wanted to get some money too. He hadn't even succeeded yet. And now Qibing wanted to get some money too? Wasn't that just asking for a share of the pie? But he didn't dare say anything to Qibing. He said gloomily, we asked him for Pingzhan commercial building and Pingzhan business hotel, and 200 million as startup capital. Oh, I see. Qibing was envious. It seemed like he should make his move as soon as possible, or else Pingzhan Industries would be taken away by others. When was he going to do it, if not now? And so, Qibing wasn't in the mood to chat with Xiao Ji anymore. After a few words, he hung up. Xiao Ji was panicking as well. He hung up the call and started discussing with Xiao Ben. Brother, Zhao Qibing seems to be interested too. Do you think we'd be able to get so much money if he were to join in as well? This isn't beneficial to our Xiao family. Hee, big brother, you're worrying too much. Xiao Ben, on the other hand, waved his hand casually. The situation now is that the more enemies Pingzhan has, the better it'll be for us. It's best if there are a few more. Oh, why is that? Xiao Ji's brain wasn't as good as Xiao Ben's, and he couldn't wrap his head around it. Think about it, so many enemies are going after Pingzhan. Pingzhan is the one who's at his wit's end. He has no other choice but to cut his own flesh. Even if he has the ability to get more helpers, can his helpers fight against so many people? Xiao Ben explained. Pingzhan might still think he's lucky if we're the only ones looking for trouble, thinking that he might be able to avoid it. I see. Xiao Ji nodded. Brother, you're the smartest one of all. This way, our Xiao family will get less profit, but it'll be a lot more stable. That's right. So, we don't have to do anything right now. We'll just wait for Master Bing to do what he wants. And when Pingzhan is in trouble, we'll go after him. I don't believe he won't give in. Xiao Ben said. Qibing hung up and quickly called Zihua, Gubong, and Fabai over. He was going to make a move on Pingzhan Industries, and he had to do it as soon as possible. It'd be a huge loss if he didn't get there in time, and the profits would be taken away by others. Right now, Qibing had already treated Pingzhan's assets as his own, and he was afraid that someone else would take it from him. Old Jean, Old Zhong, you guys know Pingzhan Industries very well. What excuse do you think we should use to ask for money from Pingzhan? Qibing asked straightforwardly. These were his trusted subordinates, and he didn't need to hide anything. If Xiao family is using Xiao Ji's wife as an excuse to ask for money, then what about us? At Qibing's level, it was obvious that he was going to take things by force, but he still needed a reason to avoid being criticized. Naturally, Qibing had to find a suitable reason to make a move. Otherwise, wouldn't it be daylight robbery? That was something that Lin Yi would do. Qibing didn't have the guts to do that. Every level had its own rules, and no one would break them. Otherwise, it'd be a complete mess. But Lin Yi didn't belong to the upper class or even the noble houses, so he always did things according to his own rules. He didn't play by the rules at all, and this was why Xiao Qibing couldn't gain any advantage from him. Now that he finally had a chance to teach Pingzhan a lesson, how could he let it go? Pingzhan Industries' real estate company was something that Qibing had always wanted. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, the company would have been under his name by now. The few conflicts we had were all with Lin Yi, so it'd be a bit unreasonable to use Lin Yi as an excuse. Zihua said. Xiao family's reason is a bit ridiculous, but it's true that Meng Yao offended Xiao family's Go Huli. I know that. Why would I discuss this with you guys if I could just go ask for money? Qibing glared at Zihua and said impatiently, Let's brainstorm, everyone. I'm afraid that more of Pingzhan's enemies will come after us if the news gets out. If we're late, we won't be able to get as much as we want. Master Bing, I have a good idea, Gubong said after some thought. But it's a bit like stealing. It's fine if it's in the dark, as long as it's not daylight robbery. We won't break the rules, Qibing said. We just need a reason. Pingzhan's probably in a mess right now, and we'll go scare him a little. There's no way he won't give in. Chapter 9:26. Chapter 9:25. House Yuo? You're saying that we should forge a transfer agreement and have Pingzhan transfer the company to us, then force him to pay up? Qibing's eyes lit up. Yes. Even if he knows that it's fake, he wouldn't dare offend us under such circumstances. We can threaten him that we'll kill his daughter if he dares to make a big deal out of this. I'm sure he won't resist. Gubong nodded fiercely. He hated Pingzhan to the core, and now that there was a chance for revenge, he jumped out without hesitation. What do you guys think? Qibing nodded as he looked at Zihua and Fabai. Master Bing, that's a good idea. We'll have Yaowang come along and scare Pingzhan. I don't think he'll go back on his word. Zihua nodded. All right, it's decided then. Qibing laughed and sent Gubong off to forge the documents. Yan Jing, House Yu's house. Yu Shuaixing and Yu Bide sat side by side, while Yu Feng sat beside them. Yu Kuan had woken up by now, and while he was grieving, he told Shuaixing and Bide about how he got injured. Although it was Yu Kuan's fault for causing trouble for Lin Yi without a thorough investigation, House Yu wouldn't admit to it even if they felt that they were in the wrong. They blamed everything on Lin Yi. Second brother, you have to help Kuan. Now that we know that it was Lin Yi who did this, we'll be looked down upon by the other houses if we don't do anything. Bide's heart was filled with hatred. Lin Yi had destroyed his son, destroyed his hope. Bide's strength was basically stuck at his current level for the rest of his life, and he had placed all his hopes on his son. He didn't think that his son would become a cripple. How could he take this lying down? According to what Kuan said, that Lin Yi is only a mystic early phase. Killing him would be a piece of cake, Shuaixing said. But what background does this Lin Yi have? He's already at the early phase of the mystic class at such a young age. That's rare even among the children of noble houses. Don't tell me he came out from some hidden house to train? Oh! Yu Bide listened to Yu Shuaixing's analysis and was shocked. Before, he was only thinking about revenge and forgot about Lin Yi's background. Now that Yu Shuaixing reminded him, he was worried. If Lin Yi really was from a hidden house, then House Yu would be stirring up a hornet's nest if they went after him. But little Kuan's revenge. Yu Bide sighed sadly. Lin Yi's background is just a guess. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so we can be patient. Shuaixing said, let's stick to our original plan and send Lin Feng to investigate Lin Yi's background. It's not too late to make a decision after we see what his background is. That's the only way. Yu Bide nodded unwillingly. If we can't touch Lin Yi, why don't we touch that Pingzhan? If it weren't for his daughter Meng Yao asking Lin Yi to kill Kuan, Kuan wouldn't have ended up like this. They couldn't touch Lin Yi for now, but Yu Bide still had some anger he hadn't vented yet. So he shifted his hatred to Pingzhan and that little bitch Meng Yao. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi was the murderer, but Meng Yao was the mastermind. He couldn't let her go. According to the current situation, Lin Yi is Pingzhan's bodyguard. He's in charge of protecting them. If we touch Pingzhan or Meng Yao, Lin Yi will definitely stand up and help them. We'll become enemies with Lin Yi, and that's not in line with our plan. Shuaixing hesitated and shook his head. Before we figure out Lin Yi's background, we shouldn't make enemies with him. If we touch Pingzhan and Lin Yi really jumps out, House Yu's position will be in an awkward position. We'll be stuck in a dilemma. If we take a step forward, we'll lose House Yu's benefits, but if we take a step back, it'll be embarrassing. That's true. Man, I didn't think that it'd be so troublesome to touch a little Lin Yi. Yu Bide sighed. As they were talking, Yu Feng's phone rang. He glanced at the number and picked it up. Yu Shuaixing and Yu Bide usually didn't pick up their phones during a meeting. They rarely brought their phones with them, so someone would call Yu Feng if there was an emergency. For Yu Feng to pick up the phone in the middle of a meeting, it must be someone from within House Yu. Hello? Haitian bro, what's up? Father and third uncle are in a meeting. Yu Feng said. He wouldn't have picked up the call if it wasn't from Yu Haitian, but Yu Haitian was in charge of House Yu's external business and information system. He must have something to say to Yu Feng at this time. It's like this. There's news from Songshan. Pingzhan's bodyguard, Li Fu, has been heavily injured, and we don't know if he's dead or alive. On the other hand, Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and Xiao family has gone to find trouble with Pingzhan. Zhao Qibing seems to be making a move as well. Haitian said. He was told to keep an eye on Lin Yi and related people in Songshan. Oh, what happened? Yu Feng paused after hearing Haitian's words. Did something big happen in Songshan? This is what happened. Yu Haitian told Yu Feng the details of how Zhan Injun kidnapped Meng Yao. I understand. I'll report it to father and third uncle right now. Yu Feng was overjoyed when he heard the news. This news solved all of House Yu's worries and worries. Yu Feng did not dare to waste any time. He immediately told his father and third uncle everything that Yu Haitian had said. This is a godsend. Shuishing's eyes brightened as he tapped on the tea table in front of him, thinking of a plan. Yeah, Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled now. It's the best time to deal with him. Yu Feng nodded excitedly. Now that I'm there, I can kill Lin Yi without any pressure. Childish. Shuishing glared at his son. Although Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled, we still don't know if Lin Yi has any background. How can we act rashly? Chapter 9:27. Step by step, sometimes some things have bottoms. If you don't touch that bottom line, you won't see the results. Shuishing looked at his son, his tone serious. If Lin Yi is from a hidden house, then he's in the common world for training. Otherwise, do you think it's possible for an early phase mystic to be a follower of a rich merchant? If it were a 40 or 50-year-old man with no potential to break through, or a physical practitioner who's trained to the limit, it'd be possible for him to become a bodyguard for rich people. He's not even 20 yet. His future is limitless. Becoming a bodyguard? Do you believe me? Yeah, I wouldn't become a bodyguard no matter how much money you give me, unless it's training. Yu Feng nodded after hearing his father's words, sighing. I still don't have enough experience. I don't understand this logic. But your third uncle and I, at our age, if we don't have any hope of breaking through, we might become bodyguards for some rich people when House Yu is in dire straits. Even so, we wouldn't let you be a bodyguard no matter what, because you're the hope of House Yu's future. Shuishing said, So, Lin Yi's predicament right now might be a test and trial from the power behind him. As the saying goes, when the heavens are about to bestow a great responsibility upon a man, they must first torture his will, tire his bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why we have to be patient and do what we can't do. This is also a form of training and training. Then, Father, what do you mean by a heaven-sent opportunity? Yu Feng was a little puzzled. If his father didn't approve of making a move against Lin Yi, then why did he say that it was a heaven-sent opportunity? We can't touch Lin Yi, but we can touch Pingzhan. Shuishing smiled. Oh, brother, didn't you say that if we touch Pingzhan, we'll become enemies with Lin Yi? Yu Bide was taken aback and couldn't help but ask. That's before Lin Yi's arts were crippled. If we touch Pingzhan, Lin Yi would definitely jump out. Shuishing said, But now, what's the point of jumping out when he's lost all his arts? That's true. But what if the power behind Lin Yi can't take it anymore and appears? Yu Bide asked. It doesn't matter if he shows up. We can find out more about Lin Yi. I was afraid that he wouldn't show up. Shuishing smiled. But even if the power behind Lin Yi were to help, they wouldn't be able to do anything to us. We need a reason for everything, and we're after Pingzhan, not Lin Yi. Since they're here, we'll just give them face and let them go. They won't have to take their anger out on House Yu. Besides, House Yu's background isn't something to be messed with. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Yu Bide couldn't help but praise after hearing Shuishing's words. This way, no matter what the result is, House Yu won't be at a disadvantage. If the power behind Lin Yi doesn't show up, we can use this chance to punish House Chu and get some benefits out of them. It wouldn't be a wasted trip. On the other hand, if the power behind Lin Yi shows up, we'll be able to find out more about Lin Yi's background. That's right, that's what I mean. Shuishing said, Next, we just need to think about what we should propose to Pingzhan. House Shen's asking for too much already. If we, House Yu, don't ask for too much, we'd be wasting this opportunity. Father, I suggest that Pingzhan give up his shares to us and send his daughter over to serve my cousin Yu Quinn. Yu Feng suggested. Leave this to me. Your suggestion isn't bad, but it's best if you don't show yourself yet. You're our trump card, and we need you to deal with Lin Yi. Shueishing said, I'll leave this to you, Bide. Go with you, Haitian, and tell Pingzhan our intentions. Yes, second brother. Yu Bide nodded. He was filled with hatred towards Pingzhan, and this time he had to teach them a lesson. Songshan, Pingzhan's office. 2 more uninvited guests. These 2 were Yao Wang and Sihua. Pingzhan's anger reached its peak as he looked at the agreement the 2 showed him. House Xiao had just left, and Zhao Qibing's men were already here. One wave after another. One wave after another. Looking at his signature on the agreement, Pingzhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. The signature was his, yes, but this agreement was definitely not signed by him. But it didn't matter anymore. Sihua was obviously here to take it by force. Pingzhan didn't believe that this was a coincidence. The Xiao family had just left, and now Zhao Qibing's men were here. This had been planned for a long time. Mr. Chu, you can't go back on the agreement you signed, can you? Sihua said faintly. When are you going to hand over the real estate company to us? It's written in the agreement that the properties you've developed before, as well as the rest, will be handed over to us. I didn't sign the agreement, you guys know very well. Pingzhan's face was dark. We all know why you're here. You've been plotting against my real estate company, and now you're here to rob me? You sure have a big appetite. Haha, you're wrong, Mr. Chu. I just want to take back what belongs to us. Sihua said faintly. Mr. Chu, don't do anything irrational. Aren't you worried that you'll push me too far by doing this? Pingzhan's anger had reached a certain level. He didn't expect these people to jump out so quickly after Lin Yi and Faubert fell. Push you too far? How did we push you? Sihua grinned leisurely. If you're unhappy, you can call the police. Right, Yawang? Yes. But you have to be careful in the future, Mr. Chu. I didn't manage to poison your daughter last time, but I might not be able to do it next time. Yao Wang said faintly. Lin Yi without Qi. Let's see how he'll be able to save her. It's you. Pingzhan's face froze as he looked at Yao Wang angrily, but Yao Wang didn't seem to care about Pingzhan at all. Chapter 928. Chapter 927. Warning. Right, I forgot to tell you, other than being an expert in poisoning, I'm also a mystic class spiritual practitioner. Yao Wang said faintly as he looked at Pingzhan, his tone filled with warning. Give me an answer in 2 days. Sihua and Yao Wang stood up and walked out of the office, as if they had Pingzhan in their grasp. In fact, Sihua did indeed have Pingzhan in his grasp. From Pingzhan's attitude today, it was clear that he didn't dare say anything. This was completely different from the past. Last time, he came to Pingzhan's office after Lin Yi was injured, but Pingzhan was incomparably calm, sending him away with a few words. Although Lin Yi was injured, his strength was still there, so Pingzhan had something to rely on. But this time was different. Without Lin Yi's help, Pingzhan had become a fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Pingzhan sighed dejectedly as he watched the 2 leave. He was so useless, unable to fight back at all against the threats of these forces, facing enemies that couldn't be dealt with using normal methods. Pingzhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. Of course, he knew that he was unlucky. There were so many billionaires out there, and none of them were targeted by these noble houses. But he had to be the one. Pingzhan finally understood that he was just a businessman. It was impossible for him to go against these powerful, noble houses. Without a powerful trump card, he wouldn't be able to go against them. It seemed that he wasn't a qualified businessman yet. As a businessman, he had to know when to give and when to give and when to give and when to give and when to others. Pingzhan had taken over Pengzhan Industries from his father's hands, and it had been a smooth sailing without much trouble, until Jean Gubong wanted to take over the company, and Pengzhan had gone down the wrong path. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, Pingzhan's best option would have been to compromise with Zihua and split the real estate company, selling it to Zhao Qibing at a low price to protect his own company. Sometimes compromising was necessary when doing business. If you didn't know when to give and when to give and when to offend people you shouldn't have offended, you'd be doomed. But Pingzhan had chosen to let Lin Yi join him forcefully, and this was the beginning of the clash with Zhao Qibing. If Lin Yi could stay by Pingzhan's side, naturally he would be able to protect Pengzhan Industries. But if something were to happen to Lin Yi, it would attract Qibing's retaliation. Pingzhan finally understood this reason. He seemed to be very strong before, but it wasn't wise at all. At Xu Amin's house, Lin Yi couldn't help but shake his head after ending the call with Pingzhan. House Zhao's sudden appearance had caught him off guard, but there was nothing he could do about it. No matter what, he was still employed by Pingzhan before he left, and he could only place his hopes on the new master Pingzhan had hired. "Boss, what's wrong? Did you run into some trouble?" Fatty Lai saw Lin Yi frowning, as if he had run into some kind of trouble. "It's nothing." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He couldn't even protect himself now. What else could he do? Phew. Lin Yi took a deep breath. Today, everything his enemies had done to him, he'd return it back double in the future. "Grandpa Guan, Fatty Lai, I'm leaving. This time I'm here to say goodbye." Lin Yi suppressed the thoughts of revenge in his heart and said calmly to the two before turning to Kong Xiaobo, "I'll leave Xiaobo in your care from now on." "Ah, boss, you're leaving? Why are you leaving?" Fatty Lai jumped up from the sofa. He thought that Lin Yi had called him over to discuss the new product launch next month, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to say goodbye. "Yeah, I'm injured and I've lost all my strength. There are a lot of enemies here." Lin Yi briefly explained his situation to Guan Xuemin, Fatty Lai, and Kong Xiaobo. Guan Xian, on the other hand, was making tea for them. She'd just walked in with a tray when Lin Yi announced that he was leaving. She froze, dropping the tray in her hands onto the floor, shattering the teacups and spilling the tea all over the floor. "Ah, I'm sorry." Guan Xian realized that she'd lost her composure and quickly bent down to pick up the broken pieces. She was extremely disappointed. Was Lin Yi leaving? Why was he leaving so soon? Between them, it hadn't even started and it was already over? Guan Xian's mind was a complete blank, her heart a mess. Her tender hand was cut by the teacup shards on the ground, fresh blood gushing out. The pain brought Guan Xian back to her senses. Xian, are you okay? Why were you so careless?" Guan Xuemin saw that his granddaughter's hand was bleeding, and he asked nervously, "It's nothing, just a flesh wound. I accidentally touched the broken pieces." Guan Xian said, a little embarrassed. She bandaged other people's wounds every day, so she wasn't afraid of blood. She didn't mind that she was bleeding, and she just wanted to bandage it herself. "Fatty Lai, give her a bottle of injury medicine. I saw that you brought a lot of samples today," Lin Yi said to Fatty Lai. "Yes, boss." Fatty Lai's face was full of sorrow at the thought of Lin Yi leaving, but the more he thought about it, the sadder he felt. Finally, he couldn't hold back his tears, and he started to cry. "Huh? Fatty Lai." Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Fatty Lai's reaction. "Guan Xian's hand is cut. Why are you crying?" "I'm sad, boss." "Are you really leaving?" Fatty Lai wiped his tears as he went to get the injury medicine for Guan Xian. He still had to listen to Lin Yi, and even if he was sad, he still had to get the medicine first. Fatty Lai thought that Lin Yi wanted to talk to him about the product launch next month, so he brought some samples of the injury medicine. Now it was time to put them to good use. "It's not like I won't come. I'm just going there to seek refuge, and I'll come back when I recover, Lin Yi said. It won't affect your medical company. Chapter 9:29. Chapter 9:28. Guan Xuemin's suggestion. Kong Xiaobo was the first to know that Lin Yi was leaving. He had heard the news from Tang Yin. Tang Yin was the one who told Lu Xinwen and Xiaofan that she was going back to his hometown with Lin Yi. Naturally, Kong Xiaobo knew that Lin Yi was leaving. Although he appeared calm and resolute, he felt exceptionally sad in his heart. He hadn't known Lin Yi for long, but Lin Yi treated him as a brother and a friend. And Kong Xiaobo also treated Lin Yi as his boss. The changes that Lin Yi brought to him were too big. In just a month, he not only gained confidence, but he also had his own career. This was unimaginable in the past. However, no matter how much he didn't want to leave Lin Yi, he couldn't persuade him to stay. Tang Yin had tried to persuade him to stay, but in the end, she still left with Lin Yi. Kong Xiaobo even had the urge to bring Xiaofan to follow Lin Yi, but he suppressed the thought rationally. It wasn't loyalty, it was nonsense. Lin Yi was going back to seek refuge and recover his strength. What was he going to do? He might as well stay here and work hard to manage the company for Lin Yi. This was what he should be doing, and it was what Lin Yi was happy to see. All right, stop crying. Lin Yi knew that Fatty Lai was a crybaby. It wasn't strange for him to wipe his tears at the drop of a hat. Guan Xuemin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his mouth. Actually, if you don't want to leave, I have an idea. Don't want to leave? What idea? Lin Yi was startled as he looked at Guan Xuemin. What do you think of Xin? Guan Xuemin pondered for a while and suddenly asked. Quack? Lin Yi's eyes went wide at the words. Lin Yi had been hesitant when Peng Zhan told him this, but now that Xuemin was saying the same thing, how could Lin Yi not know what he was getting at? Was Guan Xuemin looking for a grandson-in-law as well? Sweat, it seems like I'm very popular. Grandpa Guan, why are you asking this all of a sudden? But Lin Yi pretended like he didn't understand. Guan Xan's pretty, she's a good cook. Guan Xan, who was applying medicine to herself, tensed up when she heard her grandpa's words. How could she not know what her grandpa was thinking? Her grandfather wanted to betroth her to Lin Yi. Guan Xan was well aware of that. It was just that Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, so Guan Xan wasn't too clear about it. Hearing her grandpa talk to Lin Yi in such a serious manner today, Guan Xan's heart skipped a beat. Guan Xan didn't have high hopes, but she felt that quietly liking someone was also a very happy thing. She didn't have to go for it, as long as she could be by his side and watch him. But even so, Guan Xan really wanted to know what Lin Yi's attitude towards her was. And so, Guan Xan pretended to apply medicine, but her ears perked up as she listened to Lin Yi's answer. When she heard Lin Yi's evaluation of her, her heart felt as sweet as honey. Wasn't Lin Yi talking about the best candidate for a good wife and mother? Guan Xan's breathing quickened and her face reddened. Did he like her? Haha, if that's the case, then how about I betroth her to you? Guan Xuemin laughed. If you become my grandson-in-law, then you'll be my disciple in medicine. Although you don't need me to teach you, with my name, your enemies won't bother you anymore. I'm just a scholar, but the noble houses and some of the nobles in Yanjing will still give me some face. With me here, no one will dare to touch you. Guan Xuemin wasn't boasting. Lin Yi naturally knew that if he agreed, Zhao Qibing wouldn't dare to openly make an enemy out of Guan Xuemin, no matter how angry he would be. After all, Guan Xuemin had the support of many noble houses and nobles. Guan Xuemin was a famous medical expert in the country, and many people had been treated by him. It could be said that Guan Xuemin's network was very wide. Lin Yi didn't know how to answer at that moment. After all, Guan Xan was sitting right next to him. If Lin Yi rejected directly, it would definitely hurt Guan Xan's feelings, and that wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. However, Lin Yi had a good impression of Guan Xan, but it wasn't to the point where he wanted to protect her in the Guan house. I'll go make some tea, you guys talk. Guan Xan didn't think that her grandfather would say it out so directly, and in front of her at that. How could she say it out loud? And so Guan Xan subconsciously wanted to hide. She found an excuse, stood up, and stumbled to the kitchen. Lin Yi was about to tactfully answer Guan Xiaomin's suggestion when the door of the villa opened. Guan Xiaoxiang walked in with a dark face and said unhappily, "Dad, what are you thinking? How can you just marry Xan to someone? And in a dangerous situation? Plus, Xan is already married to someone else. Even if you want to break off the engagement, you should talk to the person first. Why are you acting on your own now?" Guan Xiaoxiang had been hiding in front of the villa for a long time, and when he heard that his father was going to marry his daughter to this young man named Lin Yi, he couldn't take it anymore. He pushed the door open and rushed in. Not to mention that Guan Xiaoxiang didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi to begin with, and now that Lin Yi had gotten himself into trouble outside and wanted to use this method to escape, how could he agree to it? What if Guan Xan was in danger? "Guan Xiaoxiang, do you have any manners? Can't you see I'm in the middle of a discussion? Get out, get out." Guan Xiaomin didn't expect his son to barge in at this time and say such things that he couldn't get out of the situation. Guan Xiaomin's temper flared up. He usually didn't get angry, but now he was angry. He pointed at Guan Xiaoxiang and wanted to kick him out. "I can leave, but I'm afraid that you'll be tricked." "It's fine if your reputation is tricked, but I don't want my daughter to be dragged into this." Guan Xiaoxiang humphed and pulled Guan Xan out. Guan Xan didn't know what to do. She didn't think that her father and grandfather would clash so fiercely. She didn't know what to say. "Grandpa Guan, I'll be leaving first. Anyway, I'll leave the medical company to you and Fatty Lai." Lin Yi shrugged self-deprecatingly as he stood up. He didn't need to say anything else under these circumstances, and there was no way he could get involved in Xu Emin's family conflict. He might as well take his leave. Chapter 930. Another uninvited guest. Full. Lin Yi breathed out in relief after exiting Xu Emin's villa. Guan Xiaoxiang's sudden intrusion had solved a problem for Lin Yi. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't know how to answer him. Although Lin Yi was reluctant to part with Guan Xan, this girl had left a deep impression in Lin Yi's heart. Lin Yi couldn't stay. He had to find a way to recover his strength. Xu Emin's words were right. He may have lost his strength, but he still had his medical skills. It was possible for him to gain some status, but he still believed that medical skills were only a support. Only strength was the capital. What Pingzhan didn't expect was that 2 uninvited guests came to the company that evening just as he was about to get off work. Most of the employees had left after work, but Pingzhan didn't leave. He gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. He would satisfy the Xiao family's and Zhao Qibing's requests. He couldn't satisfy the Xiao family's requests completely, but he could give them the Pengzhan Business Building and Pengzhan Business Hotel. As for the 200 million, Pengzhan wasn't prepared to give it to them. He was a smart businessman, and from the Xiao family's tone, he could tell that the 200 million was negotiable. Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, couldn't bargain with him. He asked for a branch company, and it was one of the most valuable branch companies. The real estate company itself wasn't worth much, but the few pieces of land in the company's hands were priceless. There was no lack of luxurious villas in the last piece of land, and one of them was worth tens of millions. But Pingzhan knew that this was what they wanted, and he had to give it to them. Pingzhan's only hope was that after he satisfied the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing, the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing wouldn't bother him anymore. Pingzhan Industries didn't have much assets left, but it was enough to maintain its operations. But just as Pingzhan made the decision, the door to his office was pushed open. Pingzhan was already used to people barging in today, from Wei Jizuan to the Xiao family to Zihua and Yao Wang, and now two more. Yu Haitian? Pingzhan recognized one of them, Yu Haitian. He knew that he was the person in charge of House Yu's business in Yanjing, but he didn't know the middle-aged man beside him. Not bad, Chairman Chu. You actually recognize me. Yu Haitian laughed, but his expression was one of arrogance. He may be a businessman, but managing the business for House Yu was something Pingzhan couldn't compare to. Pingzhan's face darkened. Those who came didn't have good intentions, and now that House Yu suddenly barged in, Pingzhan had a bad feeling. Could it be that they were here for trouble as well? Pingzhan couldn't be blamed for guessing this way. After all, there were two groups of people here today, and back in the villa, Lin Yi had clashed with House Yu's Yu Kuin because of General Wei Wu, even injuring him. House Yu's purpose for coming here was self-evident. I didn't know that Mr. Yu was here. Pingzhan didn't finish before the middle-aged man beside Yu Haitian interrupted him. You're Pingzhan? How dare you? You gave birth to a lowly daughter who actually let someone injure my son. Yu Bide was here for trouble, and with the pain he felt for his son, he couldn't take it anymore. He exploded the moment he saw Pingzhan. If it weren't for House Yu's benefit, Yu Bide would have slapped Pingzhan to death, and then go after his daughter and Lin Yi. Pingzhan's heart tightened. As expected, they were here for trouble, and it was for that matter. That's right, I'm Pingzhan. I wonder if Mr. Yu has anything to teach me? Pingzhan smiled bitterly, knowing that he couldn't escape today. Teach me? Humph. My son is crippled now. A cripple who can't even get up from his bed. What do you think I have to teach you? Yu Bide raged. Even if I kill your entire family, it won't be enough to appease the anger in my heart. Third uncle, please calm down. We're honest businessmen. We can't kill each other. Yu Haitian smiled. Plus, we're here to talk about compensation, Mr. Pingzhan. Of course, if you can't compensate us, we can still kill their entire family. Anger. Pingzhan was shaking with anger. Yu Haitian's words sounded nice, but it was full of threats. If he couldn't compensate them, he would kill his entire family? Wasn't this too much? However, facing the head of the 4 big and 5 small houses, House Yu, Pingzhan didn't have any temper at all. Pingzhan didn't doubt that House Yu's words were just to scare him. If House Yu killed him, it would be as easy as stepping on an ant. At most, if they investigated, there would be countless people who would take the blame. Yu Kuin was the one who trespassed, yet he blamed it on Pingzhan when he got injured. Pingzhan felt wronged. But you can't reason with House Yu. With House Yu's current attitude, it was obvious that they were here to cause trouble. You tried to reason with them, but they acted like gangsters, and you didn't have any temper at all. That's true. Yu Bide nodded. Haitian, you should speak. Tell him our conditions. If he doesn't agree, I'll kill his entire family. Mr. Pingzhan, my third uncle has a short temper, and Kuin is his only son, so please don't mind him. Haitian smiled. As long as you fulfill House Yu's conditions, he won't kill your entire family. Pingzhan's face turned purple. He had never felt so wronged before, and he couldn't fight back at all. No matter what Haitian said, he couldn't do anything because they weren't on equal footing. He was the one being bullied. What conditions? Pingzhan took a deep breath and asked. From the Xiao family, to Zhao Qibing, to House Yu, all of them were powerful existences, and none of them were people Pingzhan could mess with. Pingzhan didn't know if there would be more powerful people coming after him, but he couldn't deal with these people anymore. Let your daughter marry cousin Yu Kuin as a concubine, and your Pingzhan industries will be given to House Yu as a dowry. Yu Haitian stated House Yu's conditions, word by word. What? Pingzhan was shocked, and his face changed. House Yu's conditions exceeded the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing's. It was unbelievable. House Yu, you've gone too far. How could Pingzhan agree to such conditions? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.